Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Essays and Espresso podcast. This time we are not going to have an essay question. We decided to be easy breezy this time. We're just going to, shoot the breeze about stuff that we've been doing recently. And with me, as always, Boken. How are you?
Yeah, fine.
During this
Just
pandemic?
Fine. Doesn't change much for me because I don't leave my house anyway.
Yeah.
How are you going to watch Code Geass on the train now?
Well, it's an obscure,
Don't you mean
very obscure reference.
Don't you mean Lelouch of the Resurrection?
Oh, yeah.
The new piece of Code Geass media for us to
wait.
consume?
I'm genuinely excited
When is that
to
shit
watch
coming
that.
out?
It's already out.
It's out? Oh,
Yes.
fuck.
We're waiting for the dub.
The dub's already out.
Oh!
Why wouldn't there
I'm
be a
gonna
dub
watch
if
it
it's like
soon.
on if it's on horrible subs? So not horrible subs. Crunchyroll or whatever, then it usually has a dub ready.
Oh. I'm going to be watching
yes.
that.
I thought we were watching that together.
I don't want to watch it with you. You're going to be negative.
Yes, we would. And Acer, how are you doing?
Whatever. I don't want to watch it with you. You're going to be negative. I'm doing fine, Daniel. I'm doing great.
You don't want to watch it with me? That makes me sad.
I don't mind watching it with you.
Oh, just Boken then.
Yeah.
So it'll be the Acer and Daniel party. We'll leave out Boken.
But Boken, for the record,
Negative
when it
Nancy
comes to-
that he is.
When it comes to watching good media, I'll exclude Daniel and just watch it with you.
I don't want to watch good media. The fuck?
I'll watch weak shit with Daniel.
So that's how you're doing it, huh?
Well,
You're cherry picking and choosing.
I mean,
between us.
I just feel like you guys have different personalities. You're more of a weep than Boken. I feel.
Very true.
I don't think that's true. I don't watch currently airing anime.
That is
I don't
true.
force myself to watch shitty currently airing anime like Boken does.
Hey, the show actually got better.
Yes,
Much-
and then
much
you
to my
express
dismay.
disappointment. Yes, exactly. You're like, fuck, guys. It actually started getting good. I don't like it now.
No, it was okay then. I would have liked it more if it kept being shitty. That's understandable, I think.
See, I was perfectly fine eating my slop. Now they added seasoning to it. Now it's just serviceable. Ugh.
Also, you promised that you would watch Darwin's Gate with me. And
I promised nothing.
you promised on a podcast. I have a recording of that.
You did, I remember.
I didn't promise anything.
He did.
You have no honor, sir.
Lies. Don't lie to my face.
No honor. No integrity.
Yeah, as expected.
No, I have all of those things. You guys are just fabricating lies and bullshit and trying to pass it off as the truth. You are all the ones without the integrity.
That's just not true. I'll have you know that I'm friends with Chris Avalon, and when you impugn my character, you impugn his character too.
Yes, your friendship with Chris Avalon automatically cements your integrity as an individual.
Do you think he associates with moral degenerates?
I don't know. I don't know the guy.
Speaking of which, he wants to be on the podcast. When are we going to have him on the podcast, guys?
When Boken finally plays KOTOR 2.
No, I think we should just have him on the podcast, and then we can have a Star Wars conversation with him later.
So we're going to have him on the podcast twice.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
Well, he's a busy man. We can't monopolize too much of his time.
I'm happy to do that. I don't think he minds.
I think he does.
He'll be fine.
Speaking of Star Wars, didn't you two do a Star Wars thing recently, or are we not talking about that yet?
We're not talking about that.
Why not?
Okay,
So,
all right.
because
just making sure.
That shit is coming out next week, I decided, which would be in 3 weeks from the part, like, if you're actually seeing this on YouTube. So that's all fucked up in terms of timeline.
Oh, my mind! Anyway, do you want to be part of the next one, Daniel?
I don't know.
Okay.
Those movies are so bleh to me. Like,
Okay, let's spoil what it is.
You can't spoil it because this won't come out for 3 weeks.
I know, but he just did.
Yeah.
No, I didn't. All I said was those movies are bleh. I didn't elaborate beyond that. People could be thinking about one thing or the other. I'm not confirming or denying.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Daniel dislikes...
Still vague enough.
Daniel dislikes Star Wars now.
I like KOTOR.
KOTOR is good.
I also like Jedi Outcast.
You only like KOTOR because you're trying to suck up to my friend Chris Avalon, who worked on the second one.
No, I liked KOTOR even before I knew who Chris Avalon was.
I'm looking forward to having him on the podcast and having him not remember even who I am.
Yeah.
After all my talking.
It's like, oh yeah, you were that guy.
Oh, yeah.
Of course. How could I forget?
Anyways,
So-
what have you guys been doing?
That's not your job. That's my job.
Yeah, well, you're not doing
Someone
it.
had to take the reins.
I was about to, and then
Wow,
you
you
unceremoniously just like shoved your fucking gullet in there and just like, whoa, you gotta do it. Boken. No, actually, Acer, since you were the one that did it.
Mhm.
Fuck you. What have you been doing? What is this dream quest of unknown Kadath? What the hell is that? What in the actual fuck is that? Come on.
What do you mean?
What is that?
Oh, Asa has been reading books again. On a video game podcast.
Well,
What a nerd!
the only time I would ever pick up a book would be to beat up a filthy nerd, just so you know.
I thought you were gonna say so you could beat up Boken. Yeah, a nice big heavy one just for you, Boken.
Yeah. Anyway, I read the Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath, and what do you guys know about it?
Obviously nothing.
Literally nothing.
What do you think it
This
is?
is the first.
What do you think it is?
The fuck do I know?
It is one of. It's like, I don't know, Little Nemo or something. Like the whole thing is just a dream.
Well, yeah. See, Daniel gets it, Bogan. What do you think it is?
Little Nemo was a dream?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you mean?
I don't-
That's the whole point.
He's in Dreamland. What are you talking about?
Yeah, Little Nemo in Dreamland.
Wait, what?
Little
Oh,
Nemo in
oh,
Dreamland.
We're
I
not
was-
talking about
The video game.
I was
The
thinking
video
of
game
fucking
and the movie.
Finding Nemo, and I was very confused.
Oh no!
I love-
Totally different.
I loved
Little Nemo.
when I was a kid.
Little Nemo's a movie and a game, and the NES game is pretty cool. It's a neat little game where you can you run around as a little kid, but the main point is that you would also transform into these different creatures, and it gave you different abilities. So like you would get one where you could like dig underground, and another one that let you jump really high and things like that. And you'd have to collect these keys in the level, and you would have to
That sounds
do like a little scavenger hunt.
That sounds like a video game to me.
It is a video game.
I know. It sounds like one.
On the Yes, it's an NES game. It's pretty old. And there's an animated movie which is pretty good. I mean, for a kids movie, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
yeah.
it's good if you are a kid. I haven't watched it since I was like 8. Did you know George
I mean,
Lucas worked on that
again,
movie?
like I said, like I said, it's pretty good for a kid's movie.
Did you know?
I don't think there's much to get out of it as an adult.
Did you know George Lucas and Hayao Miyazaki had their hands on that movie?
That's interesting. I did not know that.
I recommend reading the making of that movie. It is astonishing. Your head would spin the amount of crazy names that are attached to that movie tangentially. Anyway,
and then it kind of just turned out to be like, it's an alright little thing for kids.
Pretty much.
I mean, if it had a tumultuous development, it's actually kind of astounding that it turned out like okay at all.
Yeah, I like the green-faced clown in that.
I do remember. I don't know if I should say his name. I'll just say I remember seeing an old review of that movie by a certain critic that I thought was hilariously stupid because he kept complaining the entire time, like, the movie has to explain itself. This doesn't make sense. And it's like, it's a fucking dream. The whole movie is a dream. Dreams don't make sense. Like,
can I ask you a question?
What are you talking about?
Did this critic go on to make a terribly reviewed, how to put this, satire of Pink Floyd's The Wall later on?
Well, you've just given it away.
Yeah, so it was him. Interesting.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking. And I remember, like, even at the time when I was a fan of his, at that time, even then I was like, this review isn't very good. Like, and that point, and that was the point where I thought he could do no wrong, and even that was like so obviously, glaringly, like, no, this is not he's off the mark here.
Yeah.
Man.
I also felt like in a lot of his reviews, he can be really funny, but he really doesn't know when to shut up. Like, he'll make a joke, and then he'll just keep making the joke, he'll draw it out, and it just dies.
That's very true. I think he used to be funnier in his earlier work, but then again, that might be nostalgia.
Oh.
But I feel confident in saying, at the very least, that he got worse for sure. He absolutely got way, way worse as he got along.
Yeah.
Can someone write in chat who the fuck you're talking about?
You don't know who we're talking about?
What the hell?
Okay.
I might,
all right,
if you write it down.
Okay, yeah, just in case people haven't figured it out. Yeah, that's...
Yeah, I don't watch that asshole.
As you shouldn't. As you should not.
I was kind of assuming it was going to be him, but yeah.
Yeah.
Did you know his friend has the rights to that character? Like, just some dude wormed his way into owning the rights to the character. It's really weird.
Yeah, that's true. It was kind of bizarre, and that guy doesn't apparently doesn't really do much, and just kind of profits, and just like sits back and doesn't do anything.
Parasite. Anyway, I wasn't watching Nostalgia Critic. I read the Dream Quest.
Oh, no! You said it! You said it! I mean, it was pretty obvious anyway, I mean, so whatever.
You basically said that. Oh, it's nostalgia talking. Anyway.
I didn't say that.
You said that.
No, I didn't.
You said that.
I said a certain critic.
No, you said... No, after that, you said, I think he used to be funnier, or maybe that's just nostalgia talking. I thought you were
you know what? I totally didn't even connect it in my mind in that way. That was literally just me talking. I wasn't consciously going like, hint, hint, wink, wink. Like.
Anyway,
anyways, yes.
The Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath. So this is a story written by H.P. Lovecraft long ago. Back in the...
Oh, this is Lovecraftian. Okay.
Yeah. You guys, you like Lovecraft, yeah?
I've never really read any of his books.
Is it just because he's a massive racist?
That's a part of it.
Yeah, that's a part of it. You know what? I also read a bunch of... I'll circle back around to the Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath. I read a bunch of other sort of Lovecraft books written by other authors. And I think that, as like they're more recent and they're less racist, but I think they're worse for it in a way. You get me?
No, not at all.
No. So all of his characters, every character in Lovecraft's book is like terribly racist. They're always talking about like, these people and these people. And it always comes across as everybody in his stories has like massive social anxieties and everybody's super paranoid about everybody. And once they removed the racism from his stories, rightfully, but you sort of end up with, you sort of lose that paranoia. I think writers of the Cthulhu mythos and stuff, they should inject that paranoia back into the stories. Not with the racism, of course, just have paranoid people again. Anyway.
Isn't the racism kind of baked in? Like with all the weird creatures and all that?
Yeah, but it's sort of funny. The only story which has like a main character who isn't, but like it's not even racism. It's sort of just a general paranoia of other people, because Lovecraft was racist about everybody who wasn't like a purebred Englishman, basically.
He was just a bigot in general.
Yeah, but it's sort of funny. The Shadow over Innsmouth is like the one story where the protagonist is like, he hears stories about the people from Innsmouth, and the guy's like, those filthy inbred Innsmouth people. And the guy's like, nah, they're probably fine. This is just superstition. And then he goes to Innsmouth, and he should have listened. He should have listened. The only story where the main protagonist isn't a massive racist is the story where he would have been saved if only he had been a massive racist.
Wow. That's... Wow.
It's a good story, though. It's a sort of... I don't want to say it's a wholesome kind of racism, because it's not. It's like a... It's like your grandma's kind of racism, you know? He doesn't bring up, like, statistics or any shit like that. It's just like, these people are different, and I don't like that. Anyway, that's our racism talk for the year. The Unknown Dream Quest, no, the Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath. So, Lovecraft's writing it's threefold. It's his general horror stories, then you have the Cthulhu mythos, and then you have the dream cycle. And I think the dream cycle is the best. And this is I think this is the biggest story he ever wrote in the dream cycle. And it follows Randolph Carter. He's my favorite Lovecraft character. I've always loved that Randolph Carter guy. And he appears in some other stories. And it's basically his quest. He has this dream about a palace, and he wants to reach it in his dreams. And it's just his sort of quest. He's allying himself with mysterious space cats and ghouls. He's fighting off the persuasive tactics of elder gods and stuff. And it's really bad, but it's also kind of great. What do you think, guys? Was that not the greatest summary ever?
I mean...
I have no fucking frame of reference for anything Lovecraft.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to say.
That's fine.
I
The
find
next
that
book-
shit so unappealing. Like that.
What, Lovecraftian horror?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Bloodborne? Don't you like Bloodborne?
Not particularly.
You fucking piece of shit.
What else did you read, Asa?
I also read The House on the Borderlands. Have you read that?
No.
Oh. Well, it's not...
Did it contain any looting or shooting?
And
Yeah,
Daniel
kinda.
goes for the obvious joke.
It kind of did.
Oh god, is it
Yes!
like a war?
My low-hanging
A
fruit
war
worked.
novel?
No, it's not a war novel. Although the writer did die in World War I. And there's nothing funny about World War I.
No.
That's I'm taking a stance on that.
Oh, yeah.
Taking a
Very
hardline
courageous.
stance, huh?
Thank you. What do you think it's about? See, whenever I talk about books,
no
the thing
idea.
is, whenever I talk about books, you guys can never read anything, you uncultured monsters. So it's just
That's not
so it's
true.
Just
I
me,
have-
so it's
I
just
have
me,
several.
So it's just me, like giving a 3-minute summary, and then you guys never interject or never ask questions. So I keep having to do this game show where I ask you what you think the book is about.
You can also just stop fucking reading books.
Yeah, I could.
And that is not fucking true. I've read plenty of books.
You read plenty of manga. That's
piece of
like
fuck.
that's not books.
That's not even true. That is not even true. I don't even like reading manga that much.
You keep recommending me to read those books with all the anime kids on the beach.
What? What do you? What?
I'm just smearing you, Daniel. I'm just joshing you.
I know, but I'm trying. My brain is going like, where's the connective tissue? It doesn't exist.
There is none. You don't need
Like if you at least went like, oh, you're just trying to always recommend me that Fate thing or whatever. That at least makes some sense. But when you're like kids on the beach, I'm like, where did that come from?
You know, that kids on the beach thing, you know, Lord of the Flies or whatever.
It would have made more sense if you said kids on the slope.
They wouldn't have sounded as pervy.
Maybe not,
That was the point.
but
That was the smear.
you know, actually, I don't even know if that has a manga. It probably does because everything has a manga. That was that like weird jazz anime made by the creator of Cowboy Bebop. He just decided to just do some like slice of life school anime about like a jazz group or something. My sister loves it.
This podcast is
I've
kind
never
of a
seen it.
slice of life podcast, you know? We're not doing topics. This is just like what we've been doing in quarantine. It's just like a little slice of life, you know? What do you think?
A slice of quarantine life.
You know, the house on the Borderlands is kind of a story about a slice of life in quarantine. Now that I think about
Is it now?
Yeah. What do you think? What do you guys think it's about?
I'm not sure, but there is a song called Borderlands by Devin Townsend on his latest album Empath, which is a pretty good song. Yeah, I'd recommend it.
There's also
It's a bit length. It's an 11-minute song, but you know, it's a good song.
you can probably play that at 2 times the speed, and it's like 5 minutes.
I will murder you.
Well, I'm gonna assume that. I'm just gonna take a guess here, but I think it's about a house that's in somewhat of a quarantine.
No, but it is about a house.
Well, see.
Okay, so the story starts out. You have 2 men in fucking England or New England or wherever. And they're fishing or hunting or something. And one of them finds a novel. No, he doesn't. He finds a diary. An old, dusty diary, which details the happenings in a house that they're staying nearby. Written by a man who was probably a bit touched in the head. And the man, he's like talking about, oh, I moved in here with my sister. And I don't like servants. I don't like them. It's kind of a big house. It's a rich guy. I don't like the servants. I don't have any. It's just me and my sister. And I think his sister's a bit...
Wait. He doesn't like the servants, like the pre-existing servants, or he doesn't like servants in general?
Servants in general. He's just like a recluse. Okay. And he's taking care of his sister. I feel like the story is about... I think the story... I think the sister's a bit touched. But it may also just be... 1920s misogyny or whatever. No, it's even earlier than that. It's like...
What?
The book is written in 1908, I believe.
Oh, this is an old-ass book.
This is an old-ass book. The reason I read it is because this is generally the book that is described as the end of the Gothic horror era and the beginning of the new horror era. Like, this is where...
New horror. That sounds fascinating.
Yeah, well,
new horror
is just basically Lovecraftian horror. This is the book that originated basically all of that. Where the guy, he has like a dream one day about being transported by eldritch being into like a desert wasteland, and sees a green house, and then the next night he starts hearing noises in the woods outside, and he slowly learns that evil swine-headed humanoid monsters have followed him from his dreams, and they're invading him, and it's just him, like, he's barricaded in his house, he has a rifle, he has a shotgun, and he's just trying desperately to survive the onslaught of these pig monsters. And it's really fucking good. And then he discovers that they're coming from his well at night. So one day he has like an excavation there, and it's really good. I can't recommend this book enough. And what's interesting about it is also that it contains the entire sort of literary development of H.P. Lovecraft. Just like the general way he does horror. Then it goes into like Cthulhu, Eldritch Beasts, and then it goes into the dream cycle. And it did it in a single book predating Lovecraft's writings by like 15 years. It's incredible. And the sad thing is, the guy died in World War I, the writer. And he was like 30. The face of horror literature was just scarred by this guy's death. There was so much more he could have done. So sad. I've also been reading some of his other stuff. His name is William Hope Hutchins, and I've been reading some of his other stuff. It's not as good as this book, but I've yet to read his the Night of the the Land of Night, or whatever it's called. It's a really long one, and that's all I've been reading. I swear, guys. I swear. I'll never read again. I don't want you to think I'm a nerd.
As long as you're having fun.
Well, you've done something else though aside from read.
Yes, I also played Kingsfield. I finally got an emulator working.
I am very fascinated about this.
Yeah.
How has that been?
It was terrible, and then it got great. It was terrible.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Are you sure great is the word you want to use?
Yes, it is.
Okay, that's interesting.
I would say 50% for the reason the game wants, 50% for the reasons that I'm sort of bringing into it. So, Kingsfield, I think you can say the original Kingsfield is sort of where the DNA of Dark Souls, all that stuff sort of, if it has an origin point, it's sort of Kingsfield.
This would be it.
Yeah. And it's really interesting to see what has and what has not been carried through to the Sekiro's, Bloodborne's, and Dark Souls.
It should be noted, by the way, Kingsfield is the very first game FromSoft ever made. Mm-hmm. Back in 1994.
Yeah. And so some parts of it are very rough. Like the enemies. So this is a first-person game with locked horizontal view. You can't look up, can't look down. Well, you can, but for the most part, you're just looking to the sides. You don't have free looking. And it's also, looking around is very slow. And the thing is, enemies, they used polygons to represent the enemies. Probably they should have used sprites, because, they just look terrible. And the strategy for every enemy is exactly the same. You attack, and then you back away, and you wait for their animation cycle to finish, and then you go in and you attack again. But that's fine. It's just a dungeon crawler, right? Except it also, you can see sort of where, because Miyazaki played this when he was younger, before he worked at FromSoft. And he liked these games. And you can kind of see where that attitude from Demon Souls, Dark Souls, you can kind of see that it is represented here. Like, it did originate here. There's a guy who's like, he's like working in a mine, and he's saying like, "Hey, if you find my son, could you tell him to come back?" And then you can find his son is dead, and you can just loot his map. And then he can't actually talk to the guy again, the father. I haven't yet been able to communicate to him that his son is dead. But regardless, I still really like the game.
Man, that looks... I'm looking at some images.
Yeah, it
pretty
looks rough. And it plays rough, but it all sort of combines, and the sort of experience of a dungeon crawler, it still manages to maintain that. Even though the only thing I would change is I would really like to be able to move the camera faster. Because you'll spend like 5 seconds just turning around. And like I said, I am having a great time. Even though the game probably isn't great. I think it's great. You know? Does that make sense?
Sure.
Is it really great, or do you find it fascinating?
Yeah, that's probably it. It's I would say it's good. You can play it. It's rough, but my fascination with it is elevating it to being great in my mind. And I look forward to playing the subsequent Kingsfields and Eternal Ring and Shadow Tower.
I tried playing some of Shadow Tower, and I found it particularly rough, and I did not enjoy what I played of it, but I don't know, maybe you'll feel differently.
Maybe. I do have better tastes than you, as we've discussed in this as we've discussed before.
That's gonna help.
No, I think you're just more willing to put up with bullshit than I am.
Well, yeah. I did do that secret special project with Boken that time.
Yes.
See, I'm bringing you into our beef, Boken. Anyways,
so I beat Zelda: A Link Between Worlds.
Who cares? What? No, sorry. I'm sorry. Keep going.
I'm gone. Get another host.
I'm sorry. Keep going.
These motherfuckers.
If we learned anything, it is that Acer and me can totally carry a show, you know?
You hear this, folks? These motherfuckers slandering me? Can't even. This show would be dead in the water if it wasn't for me. But these motherfuckers act like, we don't need Daniel. Pish posh. Get the fuck out of here.
Also, Boken, I've been thinking you should transcribe each episode into German and put the subtitles on for German listeners.
I think Boken would rather eat his hat.
I just think that it'd be a nice thing to do, you know?
Sure. Are you going to do the same for Icelandic?
Nah. So few people in Iceland, man.
I don't want uneducated Germans who can't even speak English to listen to this show.
Oh, damn. Throw in that mad shade.
Take that, Germany, I guess? Anyway, Daniel.
Anyways, I beat A Link Between Worlds, and it's my favorite Zelda.
You're steadfast on that.
Yeah. I might need to replay a Link to the Past to be like 100% sure, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I played through the whole thing, and there was never a moment where I was like, man, this fucking sucks. Ugh. I can't. What were they thinking? How could
that rarely happens with Zelda games, though? Where you go, man, this fucking sucks, unless it's like fucking Skyward Sword.
Sure, but even then, like, there'll be parts of like Zelda games, even Zelda games where I'm like, oh, whatever, just playing through it, not really. Like Zelda games don't have the same meaning to me that they used to. Like Ocarina of Time, when I first played it, filled me with wonder. I think it's boring now. Like, I can't go back to Ocarina of Time. It doesn't do anything for me anymore. Like a Link Between Worlds, like, playing it is just pure joy. Like, it's just like, every time I pick it up and I play it, I'm having fun. Right? It's just such an enjoyable game.
What's your favorite aspect of a Zelda game? Like, Link, this is now your favorite one. What about it? What does it do better than the other Zelda games that makes it your favorite?
Here's the thing. I don't think the Zelda games have ever been particularly good at, like, one thing. I always felt that Zelda games have been a melting pot of good things that are just mixed together really well.
Yeah.
And I feel like A Link Between Worlds, instead of doing one thing in particular that elevates it, it's doing all the things that Zelda should do the best. It has the best puzzles. It is, extremely charming. Like, the dialogue is super fun and enjoyable to read. Like, swinging the sword feels good. Because combat in Zelda has never actually been good.
Nope.
Yeah,
so all they really need to do is make sure that when you swing the sword, you enjoy the act of swinging the sword, and it feels good to swing the sword. Like, that's actually one thing I don't like. As much as A Link to the Past has been my favorite for the longest time, that is one thing that really did hold that game back, is that swinging the sword doesn't really feel that good. And in A Link Between Worlds, oh man, it feels awesome. Just like swing your sword. Especially when you get the super spin attack, when you find all the little like shellfish, and you could just like clear out an entire room with the spin attack. It's fucking great.
Does he move like a Beyblade?
I don't understand what that means.
Does he like spin around?
Do you not know what a Beyblade is?
Yeah, I know what a Beyblade is, but like the question just kind of threw me off. But yeah, I mean, he spins around. Yeah.
That's cool.
Holy fuck, we should watch Beyblade.
Oh, no, we should not. But I think what really makes A Link Between Worlds like even better is the fact that I have such a love for A Link to the Past, and this game is such a love letter to that game.
Yeah.
But it's not a remake, and it's closer to a sequel. And it plays on your expectations of A Link to the Past. Put things in different places. And you are rewarded for remembering that game. Because I had that Link to the Past, I must have beaten that game like 10 times throughout my life. Which is really rare for me. I almost never replay games. So, like, I had that game, like, airtight in my mind. Like, I know it really well. So, because of that, whenever I explore in A Link Between Worlds, and I remembered, like, oh, there should be a secret here, there would usually be something there. But A Link Between Worlds adds so much more. It feels like every time I played the game, there's always something to do. There's always something to find. Even if I didn't feel like doing a dungeon, I could just explore the overworld. There was so much more to do in Hyrule than there is in any other Zelda game I can think of. Granted, I haven't played all of them. Like, I haven't played through Wind Waker. I haven't played through Skyward Sword. There's a few Zelda games here and there I haven't played through yet. But of the ones that I've played, like, except for maybe Breath of the Wild, I think this one has, like, the most things that you can do in the map. Like, there's always something to find. There's always something to do. The dungeons themselves are really well designed with actual puzzles, like real ass puzzles. Like, they're not gonna like. There'll actually be some instances where you'll be stumped. Most of the time, you'll be able to figure them out on your own. I never had to look up a guide or anything, but like there will be a few times where you'll be like, "Huh, what does the game want me to do?" And the fact that you have the mechanic where you're like on the wall and you turn to the painting, and that adds like a whole new dimension to how you solve puzzles, and it forces you to like think outside of the box, and you're rewarded so much by utilizing that in interesting ways. And like you'll put yourself on the wall, and then you'll go through like a little crack in the wall, and then behind there's like a piece of heart or something. Or you put yourself in the wall, and then when you pop out, stuff that was in front of the wall will fall down. It'll create like a bridge, or you'll get an item out or something. There's like so many neat and creative things that are done with the game that like I couldn't help but by the end of it just be like, yeah, this is my favorite Zelda. They just did everything right. Like there's nothing about the game that I thought was like poorly done. Like I just enjoyed every moment of this game. It was
How long is it?
awesome. 20, 30 hours, something like that.
Ooh, that's a lot.
No, 30 is too long. It's probably closer to 20, something like that.
All right. Can I tell you a secret?
But you also have to you have to also keep in mind that like I went out of my way to do most of the things in the game. Like by the end of the game, I had like 19 pieces of heart. Like I only had like a few heart pieces to find, but by then I was like, oh, I'm just gonna beat the game. So like I almost 100% of the game.
How difficult is the game?
To be fair, it's not a super hard game, but there is hero mode if you want to
like from the beginning.
I don't know if it's from the beginning because I just wanted to play the game normally. I think you might have to beat the game first, but I don't remember. I will say that like the first time, when you first go to the other world, the low rule, the game actually does amp up its difficulty quite a bit. Like I actually found myself dying a few times when I first entered low rule, but once you get like a more powerful sword and you get like more hearts and the blue mail, then the difficulty starts to even out. But
do you remember in A Link to the Past when you first met those birds and then they took away like half of your health in one attack? That's the one. Yeah. That's the one little chink in the armor of that game that I hate so much. The enemies, they don't communicate properly how much damage they do. Is that a problem?
Wait, are you talking about the cuckoos? When you like when you hit it and then it's like all of them just start swarming the screen?
I don't remember. I just remember there was some bird who took away so much health, like in comparison to how small it was.
I don't remember that enemy.
Maybe it wasn't a bird. It was something. Can I tell you, as a guy who's always hated the puzzle aspect of the Zelda games,
really?
I always feel like it's sort of artificial, you know? That mechanic of flattening yourself against the wall and moving around, that does sound interesting.
Maybe you should...
I think it's one of the best aspects of the game.
Have you ever played Minish Cap? That's a fairly similar gimmick.
Yes. Well, that one you make yourself super small and you can squeeze through little holes.
I feel like that's comparable.
That sounds like Ratchet and Clank Size Matters on the PSP.
I would say that the wall flattening, I'm just gonna call it the portrait mechanic. Like that's utilized a lot better in A Link Between Worlds compared to
I remember that
Minish Cap.
Actually used very well in Minish Cap, like in terms of even incorporating it into the boss fights and the level design.
Okay, I mean I haven't played it since high school. I remember it being a decent mechanic. I didn't think it was especially great, but then again, it has been a while. That is a good game though. That is a good Zelda.
I've been thinking about what I like most about Zelda games, and my mind immediately says the dungeons. When a dungeon is really creative and has some wild gimmick or some wild idea. But then all my favorite Zelda games have really not good dungeons, which would be like Wind Waker and Breath of the Wild. And I think the best dungeons are in Twilight Princess, which I don't like much at all. It's I don't know. think Zelda.
Twilight Princess is a weird one.
Zelda
for me.
is weird when it's. Zelda is good when it's like branching from the standard formula and doing something new really well, which is both Wind Waker and Breath of the Wild.
And Minish Cap.
And Minish Cap
Majora's
too. Yeah,
Mask,
Minish
I
Cap is up there
suppose.
for me.
You don't like Majora's Mask that much?
I haven't played.
Oh, okay.
I love Majora's Mask.
I think it's the best one.
It's definitely my favorite 3D Zelda game, for sure.
It sounds like it would be one of my favorites as well, though, if I had played it.
I would say my top 3 Zeldas are A Link Between Worlds, A Link to the Past, and Majora's Mask.
Bogan, can I sell you Majora's Mask in a really dumb way?
I don't think you need to sell it to me.
I'll try anyway. Imagine Breath of the Wild, except instead of all that grass burning shit, it has like substance. Yeah, thank you.
I didn't know you didn't like Breath of the Wild.
I like Breath of the Wild. I just, I
He's
feel like
just
it was...
trying to mock me
I was
because I like
mocking
Breath
Bogan.
of the Wild so much.
You're not allowed to like things. If I dislike it, everybody else has to
You
dislike it
just said
too.
you don't dislike it.
No, I know. I'm just doing the internet guy. You can't have your opinions. We have to have a monoculture around enjoying stuff. You know?
Anyways, so since I finished Link Between Worlds, I've transitioned into Metroid Samus Returns.
The 3DS
I always
game?
like to have like...
I think.
Yeah, I always like to have a 3DS game in rotation so I can have something to play in my car during lunch break.
You don't want to
And that
socialize
game
during your lunch break.
Wait, what the fuck? You go back to your car during lunch break and play video games?
Yep.
The fuck is that?
What do you mean what the fuck
You
is
don't
that?
want to socialize with people?
Do you not have a
No.
lunch room in wherever you
Yeah.
work?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, you
and
just
I
don't
hate
want to
it.
be seen playing a video game.
That's so
No, I
sad.
No, I don't like socializing with everyone. Like I'm already with them all the time in the lab. I don't want to spend even more time with them in the cafeteria. Like, no,
They're
it's-
all having their coffees together talking about, hey, that weirdo Daniel, he always goes out to his car. Do you think he's jerking off?
That's so weird.
No,
What
no.
the
Actually,
hell?
one of my other coworkers does the same thing. I got the idea from him because he always goes to his car, and
For like half an
nobody
hour,
gives
you
him
go
grief.
back to your car and play video games during work?
Yeah,
That's so weird. What the fuck?
nothing weird about it. There's nothing weird about it.
Like,
Comment below if it's weird.
What?
I'm sorry that I've gamed the system, and
You have
really haven't,
gained
though.
nothing.
You're
I
gaming
have.
yourself. Like, I understand not wanting to socialize with people during your lunch break because you see the people all the time anyway. But I would, and I do, rather just go somewhere to eat or take a walk for half an hour to calm down.
I play video games to calm down. Or I'll read a comic book. Like I spend a lot of lunch breaks reading the Watchmen comic book.
Why can't you do that at work?
He does it.
You want me to read a comic book as I'm formulating?
No, I mean
In the lab.
Why can't you do it at the place where you work during lunch? Why do you have to
why
go
do you
back
have to
to
go
your
to your
car?
car? I suppose you don't want
Are you
people asking you
ashamed
questions.
of your hobbies?
I can't. Well, I can't eat in the lab. You're not allowed to have food in
Yeah,
the
but
lab.
you have some kind of cafeteria or something?
Yes, we do. But again, I don't want to. Because usually those cafeterias get really full with people, and I'm like, "Ah, I don't
Haven't you
wanna
seen the
fucking do
Nintendo
that."
Switch ads, Daniel? You bring out your Nintendo Switch, and all the girls are gonna be like, "Oh my god, this is so interesting."
Like, even then, I'd
No,
rather
I-
sit down on a park bench or something than in my car. The fuck is that
Well,
about?
I don't want. I just want to be in my car by myself, no one bothering me. I'm just like, in my space Why is this so weird? I don't understand why this is so weird. I just want to be left alone during that
Because
time.
your car is not a place of retreat.
It's a tool to get from A to B, Daniel. I feel like you're not respecting that.
It's also a good opportunity for me to continue listening to a podcast or my
No, you do that
audiobook
while you're working.
or whatever.
You can do that while you take a walk.
No, I don't. I don't want to take a walk.
Wow.
Jesus fucking hell.
And sometimes, I'll drive out, I'll get some food, and then I'll be in the parking lot, eat my food, chill. Why are we focusing so much on
Because
this?
This is
weird.
way more interesting than Samus
There's
Returns.
nothing weird about this. You guys are just making it
I
weird.
want people, legitimately, I want you to comment. I want to know if this is standard practice where you live. Or whether Daniel is just a monster.
Oh my god, I'm a monster! Because I want to be by myself in my lunch break.
Yeah.
In my car, listening to music or podcasts or whatever.
Did you guys know that giraffes are now an endangered species?
That is a real non sequitur.
Yeah, I know
okay.
that, but did you know that?
I did not know that.
Me neither. But
How do you...
Nice job, humanity.
Yeah, I just wonder, no, I'm not going to do it. I had a funny joke, I'm not going to do it.
Anyways, Metroid Samus Returns.
I suppose you should cut out that non sequitur in its entirety then.
Metroid Samus Returns is
They're endangered because they kept looking down at all the other creatures. The neck, you see. Why did Samus return, did you say?
I don't know why.
We only record
sometimes.
bi-weekly, you know that.
And sometimes it's still
Still too much.
Just give me a minute.
He's taking his antidepressants.
Actually, it's just gum, but whatever.
Well, that's good during a podcast.
So yeah, Metroid Samus Returns for the 3DS. Do you guys know anything about this game?
Yes, it's for the 3DS.
Isn't it a remake of Metroid 2? And
Yes.
I think I've seen a speedrun.
Yeah, so it's a remake of Metroid 2, The Return of Samus. See what they did there? The Return of Samus, Samus Returns, and...
I don't see what they did there. Explain it to me.
Well, they took the subtitle of Metroid 2, The Return of Samus,
Yes.
and then they switched the words around to Samus
I feel
Returns.
like every
so-
subtitle of a Metroid game could be Samus Returns. And maybe is, I don't know.
I suppose that could just be the
Maybe.
title of the franchise. Like, ugh, Samus Returns, I guess. Another fucking issue for her to solve.
Yeah, she really is like a maid
For the
of the universe. Like she's just like cleaning up everyone's messes. Like, oh my god, guys.
you idiots giving me ass ache. Now I gotta clean out these monsters again. And I keep dumping all my weapons.
They keep getting broken or something. Like
They do that.
she gets slammed.
They do that in
slammed against the wall, and she's like, "Oh my god, all my shit's broken again."
They do that
Fuck.
shit in Ratchet and Clank too. It always annoyed me when I was playing those games.
Can I tell you guys something?
Yes.
What?
I've never played a Metroid game, and I don't really care to.
I've never played one either.
Actually, that's not
Wait a
entirely
minute.
true.
Wait a minute. Bogan,
What?
you watched a speed run. You just said it.
Yeah, that's not playing a game.
No, but
just-
why do you
yeah.
watch a speed... See, okay, this is again where we get into... This is the same shit as Daniel isolating himself during work.
This
You
is
watch
so
speed
not
runs
the
of
same
games...
thing.
Yeah, you watch speed runs of games you haven't played.
Yeah. Because during speedruns, they sometimes explain what the hell is happening. And I generally understand how the fuck a Metroid game works. Actually, I've tried playing Super Metroid like 4 times or something. I just can't get into it. It's
You monster.
I just don't like the aesthetics. I think
What?
I
It's like one of the best looking Super Nintendo games.
yeah, but I don't like the universe of Metroid. I just find it very unappealing, and I also think the soundtrack is immensely overrated.
Everything I'm hearing right now.
That's the Metroid theme.
Boken is now officially on my shit list. Let it be known. I will not tolerate this Metroid slander.
What
Will you
slander?
tolerate
from
I
this-
just said I personally don't care for it.
Slander!
It's his Breath of the Wild. He's allowed to not like it. I like Breath of the Wild, though. It's fine.
It's his breath of slander.
Wow.
Anyways.
Why does Samus return? Does Ripley return?
He might be in the game? I haven't gotten to him yet.
Is Ripley a dude?
So, I believe he is. I believe so. Ripley is a space pirate.
Isn't he like a pterodactyl?
Yes.
I thought he was like the alien mother from Aliens.
He has
No,
nothing
he is
to
a...
do with the Metroids, does he?
Yes, he does. So Ripley is, I believe, the head of the space pirates, and the space pirates are trying to harvest the Metroids. He's trying to get their power, trying to, use them to, I guess, rule the galaxy or
What
whatever.
the fuck is a giant space drake, the head of the space pirates?
Because the
work
space
hard.
pirates are like, well, look at this fucking dude. He's huge. He can rip us apart. We better just listen to what he says.
Can Ripley
That's
fly
also,
through space? Like, just like that? Or does he need a ship?
Well,
He can definitely fly. Well, he
can't
can
fly through
definitely
space.
fly.
You can't use wings in space.
I
Well,
guess that's true.
he might.
But I'm not sure if Metroid is that scientifically accurate.
I mean, okay, well, if you consider the opening to Super Metroid, there
Consider
is the
it,
space
Boken.
station. There is a space station that blows up, and Ripley is there, and he steals the Metroid. So he might have gotten into his ship and fled, or he might have flown out into space. I don't know. Anything's possible, I guess. But anyways,
Next topic. Or did you want to say something?
No.
Did you want to start talking about Samus Returns?
I would like to actually say something of substance about the fucking game. So, yes, it's a remake of Metroid 2, The Return of Samus, which I've never played.
Is that an NES game?
No, that's a Game Boy game, not a Game Boy Color game. An OG brick ass
Hell yeah.
Game Boy game.
I remember having
4
one
colors,
of those.
baby. No, 2
That
colors.
old fossil.
No, 4.
Yeah, puke green and black. So yeah, that was what Samus Return, or The Return of Samus was. An old Game Boy game. So it was remade now as a 3DS game by Mercury Steam, the same people that made the Lords of Shadow Castlevania games.
Oh, fuck.
I know.
Surprisingly decent game, though, if it wasn't for the license.
I feel like the first Lords of Shadow is like a pretty competent God of War clone.
It is.
And if it was called something different, like, I think people would have been more accepting of that game. Like, if it totally dropped the Castlevania moniker and it was just called Lords of Shadow and it had, like, no relation to Castlevania, I think people would be a little bit more, I don't know, accepting of it. Because I think if you ignore that, it's a pretty good little game. The sequel sucks, though. Lords of Shadow 2 is fucking
yeah,
terrible.
I dropped that like 2 hours in.
Dropped it
I
like
beat
a
it.
bad habit.
I beat that game. That game is a fucking mess. That game is terrible. I also beat the 3DS game, which was aggressively average.
I feel like you're never going to get around to telling us why Samus returns.
So
We're like an hour in
getting
and
back.
you're in your second topic.
I'm sorry, you're right. I'll become more focused. So, because of Mirror Fate, I was a little trepidatious going into Samus Returns because their previous 3DS game was super average. Thankfully, though, I guess because this was directed by the Metroid guy, this game is actually really good. One thing that did really throw me off, and it's now something I've come to appreciate, is the countering system. So, enemies will have these tells where they'll have like a little white shine on them, and then they'll attack you. And then you can respond by pressing the Y button, and Samus will smack them with her arm cannon. And then that will give her the opportunity to shoot back and kill them. Or at least do a lot of damage. If it's like a normal enemy, it will most likely kill them. But if you're fighting a boss, it will do a decent chunk of damage. Okay. And because they're in that countered state, those attacks will deal more damage than they normally would. So there's a lot of incentive to take advantage of it. Now, one of the things about this game that I actually really appreciate, and I think it sidesteps one of the issues that Metroid has had over the years, is you have a new mechanic called the Aeon. Now, it's like an extra meter where it's like an energy that you can get, and it fuels 4 different abilities. Now, I've only gotten 3 of them so far. One of them is like an electric shield, which enhances your countering ability and also makes it so that you don't take any damage until your meter runs out.
When did this game come out?
A couple of years ago, like 2 years ago.
Okay.
There's the let's say the one that I just got where it powers up your arm cannon, where like you shoot like a bunch of blasts like really quickly, and it does like a ton of damage. And most importantly, there's an ability that lets you see breakable blocks. So it will send out like an electromagnetic field, I guess. And this allows Samus to see for like a limited amount of time. I want to say like probably like 20, 30 seconds or something like that. And lets you see on the map any areas that you haven't been to. It will like fill out that part of the map, and you can physically see any blocks that can be broken. And this sidesteps an issue with the Metroid games where sometimes they can be a little too vague as to what you're supposed to do next. And sometimes you'll just have to, like, legitimately, you just start to bombing places and just see, like, oh, okay, I can break this, and then you can, like, progress. And now you don't have to worry about that. This game literally puts in a mechanic so that you don't have to worry about it. So I think that makes this game a bit more accessible as a Metroid game compared to the older ones. And so far, I'm having a lot of fun with it. The big asterisk I have to put there, though, is that there is another...
That's very insensitive of you. The man who wrote Asterisk and Obelix, he just died.
Wait, did he really?
Yeah, he just died.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know that.
You shouldn't have assaulted his work like that.
I didn't intend to. But, anyways, what I was about to say is, the thing is, this is not the only remake of Metroid 2.
No.
There is a fan-made remake called AM2R.
Which is much better, I hear.
it is absolutely the better game.
Yeah.
So far, at least. I haven't finished Samus Returns, but I did finish AM2R. And AM2R is so good, it's actually my favorite Metroid game. Which is kind of weird to say because it's a fan-made game. It's made almost entirely by, like, one dude. Like, most of it was made by this one dude. I think he got help with, like, the music and a few other things. But it's almost mostly him.
Why doesn't...
And apparently it was...
Why doesn't Nintendo, like, reach out to him instead of trying to kill the project? They're like, hey, we'll just pay you money and you can just release this under our flagship, right?
Well, Nintendo paying anyone fucking money for a fan game?
No, but
well,
I mean, like,
I would have to imagine that Samus Returns was already in development when AM2R dropped. So I think for them it would be a huge conflict of interest.
Yeah, but they could have gone, hey, like, we will publish this for you, but you need to change it and just do your own original story or something. I just feel like
I don't think they would.
I just feel like there's so many ways they could have gotten around the bad PR, and they just chose the dumbest.
Fuck. From what I understand, especially when it comes to copyright, you have to be extremely strict because you don't want to send a precedent of people using your intellectual ideas.
Sure. Personally, I think Nintendo should have just, like, ignored it because I think his name is Dr. 64. He said that he had planned to release more patches for the game and updates to make it better over time, and he didn't get a chance to do that, which is a bummer, but, you know, it is what it is. But even that game, as it is still, like, the best Metroid game, which is crazy. And, yeah, if I were to directly compare Samus Returns to AM2R, AM2R is a better game. But I feel that is... I don't want to, like... I don't want to say that, though, because Samus Returns is still really good. It's a really good remake. It's a really good game. And I would recommend it so far. I think it's well worth your time. Even though AM2R is better and is free.
All right.
But, yeah, I'll get back to you guys when I finish it. Next thing that I've done recently is I beat Nioh. Finally. I finally beat Nioh. I feel like I've been trying to beat Nioh for, like, the past couple of years.
Now you're gonna go get into the second game? That's what...
I don't want to play any more Nioh. I'm so done. Like, Nioh was great. It was a really good game. But, like, I'm just done. Like...
These fucks up.
Daniel, you're terrible at this.
These fucks are ruining our topic docket.
I know. Just leave it alone.
I'm done. Fine. I'll leave it alone.
So yeah, because technically speaking, even though I beat the base game, I still have the DLC, and I'm like, I don't want to do it. I'm done. I'm just fucking done with Nioh. Like,
yeah, I'm just gonna play the second game and tell you how it is. I'm really interested. The thing actually, because I didn't play the first one.
Because the thing is, I feel like at this point, if I really want to play more Nioh, why would I go back and play the DLC of the old game when the sequel is out? Like, I might as well just play the sequel.
That's how they get you.
Ah.
I guess. But, like, I'm going to wait for a PC release. I'm not going to play it on PS4.
Blasphemy.
I gotta have my 1080p 60 frames per second,
I'm pretty
y'all.
sure PlayStation 4 supports 1080p 60 frames per second, right?
That would have to be the Pro version.
That's what I heard about the second game, yeah. And I have a Pro.
I don't have a Pro. I have a regular ass PS4.
A Pro is for 4K.
You can't. That's a joke.
Well, I mean, it's for like some. They cheat their way to technically be 4K, right? It's actually 2K.
I would much rather take the frame rate.
Yeah. Do you guys?
Yeah, I want the solid frame rate. I don't care about 4K.
Yeah. What do you guys think about those PlayStation 5 rumors that apparently it's just a dumpster fire?
What do you mean it's a dumpster fire?
PlayStation 5. They underestimated Xbox, and they created a console which it's not as good, and also because of the way it looks, apparently it overheats a lot more. That's why the Xbox Series X, it's just a box, because it's really easy to cool it. The PlayStation 5 has like really complicated cooling systems, which are very expensive, and they're not going to be able to be cheaper than Xbox, and they're not going to be able to be more powerful. So apparently, rumor is saying that they're either going to have to release a bad console in December, which they have to spend a year fixing, or they're going to have to delay the PS5 by a year. How does it?
I hope they delay it.
Me too.
I hope so too, but more so than that, I hope the rumors are true, because the last time this happened, we got the PS3, and Sony had to keep pumping out money into a lot of niche games to try to get somebody to pay attention to them. Whereas with the PlayStation 4, they sort of hit a home run and just rested on their laurels, basically. I mean,
I guess,
what's like a
but,
great
like,
game from this generation, do you think? There's not many. Comparatively.
Nioh.
Yeah.
Nioh?
Well,
Nioh's a great game.
Okay.
but you have like...
I mean, even though I got sick of it by
I don't
the end
wanna
of it,
play
that's
any more
still...
of it.
I meant PlayStation exclusives. You have like Bloodborne, you have Last of Us,
Yeah, Bloodborne.
I suppose...
Well,
I
Last
guess-
of Us
I
is
guess
not
if you
this-
wanna say-
Last of Us is not PlayStation 4.
Last of Us has got a PlayStation 4
No,
port.
I meant to say the Last Guardian.
Oh, okay.
Uncharted 4, I guess.
No.
Uncharted 4, maybe. Sony
Okay.
Spider-Man. Maybe.
Hey, I never
Garbage
played it.
game. Fuck God of War.
God of War, if you like it. But
No.
like...
I would have said the Yakuza series, but Yakuza recently got ported to PC and Xbox, so...
Wow.
But like whatever, that's I don't care for the Microsoft brand. Like Sony gets all the interesting Japanese games on top of all the other games, and
Yeah.
I really couldn't give a fuck otherwise.
I really like what Phil Spencer is doing with Microsoft, though. Doing with Xbox.
Well, I like it, and so far that I don't have to get an Xbox ever.
Yeah. I wonder, it would be interesting if Sony just strong-armed Xbox. Like, you know what? No. We're not doing another console generation for 3 years. We have 100 million consoles sold. How many Xbox Series X's are you realistically going to sell when nobody is going to develop games for it except for you? Like, third-party developers, they're not going to make Xbox Series X games when there's 10 million of those in circulation and 100 million PS4s. That would be interesting. It could blow up in their faces, but it would be interesting.
It probably would blow up in the faces.
I don't know, though. I feel like... I don't know. Anyways, you were playing that thing you were talking about?
Nioh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I beat it. I'm done with it.
Are you over it?
Yeah. So, even though you tried to change it so many times in the fucking docket, I got through half of Half-Life.
Yeah. I thought I could do a sneaky one there, but in the end...
No, I don't know why you kept trying to change it to Deus Ex. That doesn't even... Like, why Deus Ex of all games?
Because it's funny. What do you mean?
How is that funny? What is the joke?
Hogan is laughing.
I'm laughing at your
you-
antics.
You play through half of Half-Life, that's like, yeah. But then you play through half of Deus Ex, it's like, whoa, what? You know?
I mean, I beat Deus Ex, what was it called? Not Mankind Divided. Human Revolution? I beat that one.
You know what I thought would be a funny video? Would be to make a video just detailing, like, okay, here are all the conspiracy theories from Deus Ex. And just like, hey, here's like a comprehensive breakdown of all of them. This is what all these institutions they're talking about are. I thought that would be fun.
You know what is kind of funny, though? I actually did play half of the first Deus Ex.
Oh.
But I think that laptop died, and I was never able to finish that playthrough. But, yeah.
Maybe you would have been able to finish it if you'd brought it into your work like a monster and just played it in your car.
What? What?
Oh my god.
No.
I'm imagining Daniel like going to his car and there's a laptop there or some kind of...
Playing a first-person shooter like that sounds terrible.
No, you have your mouse on your armrest.
That's
You have the sensitivity
no,
really high.
no.
Like imagine Daniel
That sounds
having a
terrible.
whole gaming rig in his car that he goes to for half an hour every day.
I live in Miami. You know how hot it gets here? That PC would
just
melt.
makes it better. My uncle did that. He had like a not a laptop even. He had a real computer, a desktop computer in his car. He rigged it into the lighter or something. He's a massive nerd. And we went on a cross-country tour of Iceland, and he was just playing video games the whole time, and his monitor was like a real computer monitor. He just had in his lap.
That's so weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
That's so bizarre. But yeah, I got through half of Half-Life.
Do you like
because
it?
Half-Life, I guess because of Half-Life Alyx being a thing. I'm not planning on playing that because I don't have VR. But yeah, I am enjoying it. I think it's a good game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing the original, by the way. I'm not playing the Black Mesa remake.
That's an incredible achievement, by the way.
The remake?
Yeah. Like
How so?
It's just incredible that they managed to get it done. I remember
Okay.
thinking like, oh, this is interesting. This is very ambitious that you're going to make like a quality remake just with this loose-knit group of fuckwits. But they managed to do it somehow. I don't know. What do you want?
Okay, all right.
Not everything is supposed to be a joke, Daniel.
Daniel was just waiting
Well,
for the
I don't-
punchline.
I mean, I don't know with you sometimes.
Wow. Anyway.
But yeah, I'm enjoying the game so far. I'm sure for some people, they're like, it took you this long to play fucking Half-Life? But
Oh, you
like,
never played it.
I didn't grow up with PC gaming like other people.
And you're
I've been
better for it,
a-
wouldn't you say?
What?
I've been a console pleb
PC gaming
my
is
whole
great.
life. Yeah, I'm learning that, like I now have a really nice PC and I've been playing more PC games recently, and I see why people love PC games so much, and I have a lot of classics to catch up with, like Half-Life and eventually, Thief and System Shock.
You haven't played
all that
anything. What are you
stuff.
doing?
Well, if you didn't have a PC, I guess that's understandable.
Why didn't you play the console port of those games?
But like, I watched the new Heavy Eyed video earlier today, and in that again he made the argument that World of Warcraft is like the most important game of all time, and I'm starting to see it, and that's wholly PC exclusive. So if you missed out on that, you missed out on some history,
Yeah, but if you missed out on that, you're probably better for it.
No,
because that
like I
game
know
is
you
a
can meme and joke about World of Warcraft and whatever, but what that game achieved is kind of incredible.
Yeah, but I think that game set a really bad precedent for commercialization of video games and how they are consumed. Where you can't just play a game. Now it's like playing a video game just is transformed into like a job.
A lifestyle. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's about that whole thing where even normies gather in groups and learn in-depth mechanics and learn how the game works and all that. Like
That's true.
That's a watershed moment.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, just because it was revolutionary in negative ways, that doesn't mean it wasn't still.
We
like,
should
important.
Next time we're doing like an extravaganza video, we should just play World of Warcraft. Hey guys,
no thanks.
Hey
All
guys,
the expansions.
No thank you.
Hey guys, sorry there hasn't been a video in 8 months.
You could actually do that. You could probably get like a level 110 character or whatever they are now, and just blaze through all the old raids on your own. I assume it's not going to take that long.
Anyway,
But the last thing I want to talk about is Beastars. But Boken has also seen Beastars. We're gonna leave that for later. We're gonna leave it for later.
Yeah. What?
We're gonna leave it for later.
I was gonna suggest that we take a short break, and then we can come back and talk about Beastars and my topics.
Sure, we can do that.
Yeah.
all right, fine.
Break time.
Coffee time.
Cue the music.
No, it's different.
Hey everyone, we're back. And Boken, what have you been up to?
I've watched an anime, and it was really weird. What the fuck, Daniel?
Beastars? Yes. It was really good.
It was really good, but it was also really, really weird.
Yeah, but weird in a good way.
Yes.
So okay, what did you find so weird about it?
I guess it's the animal people, which I normally don't mind, but it was so baked into the show. Like, there was so much lore because these people are all animal people, and it defines the show itself.
It does.
It's like everything is symbolic for the relationships between people and structure and class and society, but it's all done with animals, and they all act like humans except when they don't, because the animal instincts come through, and it's really weird. It's very weird.
Yeah, to me it felt like these were humans predominantly that have animal like instincts and animal affectations and animal like properties.
Yeah, but also they have animal genes. You know, they grow up with certain behaviors that you would attribute to animals, and these,
like the chicken girl,
yeah.
like she loves
there's a chicken,
laying eggs.
There's a chicken in this show. She's a high school student, just like everyone else, and she lays eggs every day, and those eggs are being like sold in egg sandwiches, egg salad sandwiches.
Yes.
On the campus.
Yes.
And she's very proud about how good these sandwiches taste. And she starts working out and going jogging so that her eggs become better, and that's in the show.
Yeah. I thought that was super weird and interesting though. Like, and it, if you think about it, that could have been removed from the show, and like, because it doesn't really add anything to the plot per se. But I think it was included for a reason, because it does say something about the nature of not just the characters, but like of that society, that like there are people like this that exist, or animals, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah,
and that I think, for one, I think it's a nice bit of world building where like, okay, this is how this process works. This is how like carnivores get their protein, stuff like that. But the fact that she gets so much personal satisfaction out of it, it's like, oh, okay, that's kind of weird. It's almost fetishistic in a way. Like she gets like this weird sort of like, I don't know, like pleasure out of knowing that Lugosi is eating her sandwiches and loving them. I mean, she's just like, yes, he loves my egg sandwiches. Yes, like
Lugosi? Is that how they pronounce him?
Yeah.
You didn't watch it in English. Yeah, in Japanese, did
No,
you?
I saw it subbed.
But he's called Legoshi. Or Legoshi.
That's like the English way of saying it. His name is clearly supposed to be Lugosi.
How would you know? Why would it be?
So you're saying that Ruiz is his
Wow.
name? Are you? Come on, that's obviously supposed to be Louis, and they're just saying
I
Ruiz
guess.
for whatever reason.
I think Legoshi is fine.
I mean, whatever.
Marui senpai. But yeah,
I really like the show. I like it a lot. I'm surprised by how much I like it because I'm not into the whole anthropomorphic animal thing. Like, I've shown like zero interest in this sort of thing.
really. I liked furry stuff
Yeah, I
before furry was even a thing, funnily enough.
I mean, Disney movies. That's about it.
There were those old fighting games called Bloody Roar, which I really
I never
liked.
played Bloody Roar. Never played them.
Those, I don't know. And then there's these characters in One Piece. There's a devil's fruit type that allows you to turn into animals or turn certain parts of your body into animals. And there's certain stages to it. Like you can become just a whole wolf, or you can become like a man-wolf hybrid. And that's how that works. And I always thought those designs were really cool.
I mean, I've never been against it or anything, but I never thought to myself like, oh yeah, I gotta watch a show that's all about
Yeah, just
anthropomorphic
furry
animals.
culture has become such a so mainstream and popular in a way, or at least it has entered the mainstream.
It's become more accepted.
Yeah, I'm not sure how accepted
there
it
was a
actually is, but people.
I mean,
are
there was a
aware
time
of it.
where the whole furry community was just like completely and utterly just like spat on, looked down on, just like, ew, you fucking furry, get out of here. And it's not quite like that bad nowadays, I would say. Like the fact that we can have something like Zootopia
Yeah, I
and
guess.
Beastars, and they're actually popular and well
But
liked.
now that
I feel
furry
like
culture
that's
is
though.
so.
You had anthropomorphic animal movies long before Zootopia.
Yeah, the thing is
Sure.
now with furry culture being so popular, it just the kind of the weird aspects of it kind of just always come with it whenever you're looking at anthropomorphic animals. It's always
Yeah,
part of the
like,
conversation, even in the background. Like I am making it.
Yeah, I
part
remember
of the
there's
conversation right now.
Yeah, like there's a game called Dust.
Oh, yeah,
I think it's
yeah,
called, and it's like a Metroidvania-ish type of game, and the main character is a wolf. And I tried to show the game to my sister once, and she went low because it's like an anthropomorphic wolf dude, and I'm like, I had to calm her down and be like, there's nothing weird in this game.
Had to
It's fine.
calm her down. What?
Not literally, but I had to like reassure her, like, hey, there's nothing weird in this game. Don't freak
Okay.
out. Because there is that expectation. There is that like, I don't know. But at the same time, when I told her about Beastars, and I told her like, there's a little bit of that in it, she was accepting. She was like, well, I can look that over if the show is good. And I'm like, it is good. And she's like, all right, I'll give it a shot. When before, I don't think she would have been as accepting.
Yeah. I mean, well, the sexual parts of this show are just fairly, I want to say, realistic in a way. Like it just happens naturally.
It's also not super pronounced. Like, it's not like every episode there's like bunny boobies
Yeah.
or anything like that. It shows itself here and there, and they don't. I don't think it. Nothing is ever shown, thankfully. And whenever it does happen,
they get pretty close towards the end.
Yes, that's true. That is true. But at the very least, like, whenever it does pop up in the show, it doesn't feel like it's for no reason. Like, it adds something to the story. Like something is being said. Like, there is something that the author is trying to get across with that scene. It either advances the story in some way, says something about the characters, or, it's trying to convey some sort of message. So, like, it never feels like it's there for the sake of degeneracy. Like, it's there for a reason.
Yeah. But the first time Haru, just where she's alone with Legoshi.
With Legoshi.
And
Legoshi, whatever.
And then, he's like, hi, and she immediately takes her clothes off, and I'm like, what is going on here? You need to stop. And then I kind of hated the character.
Yeah.
I kind of hated Haru, but then her motivations are explained. It's explained how she uses sex to communicate to other people and why she does it. I got it. It's cool.
Yeah, I actually really liked how that was communicated because she's so small and frail. Like, people are always like looking down on her and pitying her. She feels that having sex makes it so that all of those pretenses are, stripped away, and she can be on like an equal playing field, and she no longer has to feel like she's below anyone. In those moments, she feels like she's on equal footing. I thought that was pretty interesting.
What are you guys talking about?
Is it Beastars still?
Okay, who's having sex?
The bunny girl with a bunch of other high school students.
Who are also
Yeah,
bunnies,
she loves it.
Who are also bunnies, though, right?
No.
Oh.
Not necessarily, no.
That's the weird part. And also,
yeah,
she's totally self-isolating.
She doesn't care.
Like,
I should have prolonged my phone call.
so you wouldn't have to listen to this.
Yeah, but because of that, she's kind of like built up a bad reputation, and like other students treat her poorly.
Then she actually gets into the way of another couple, and that other rabbit like just starts bullying her.
Well, to be fair, like, the other guy approached her and was like, "Hey, mama, let's."
I'm pretty sure Haru knew that he was in a relationship.
Bunnies are incredibly small animals. How does this work?
Well, that's part of the show where
is he's having sex
this
with,
wolf
cats?
is attracted to
a wolf.
A wolf is attracted, but that's
the main character.
Yeah,
is a
but
wolf.
that's part of the whole romance between them is that they're physically so different, and he kind of tries. They both kind of try to overcome those physical differences, and also the fact that she is prey and he is a predator, and they kind of try to work that out too.
So what I find super fascinating is that Legoshi doesn't know anything about her, and yet he's in love with her. So I'm of the opinion that he's not actually in love with her. He is confusing his animal instinct to eat her as like a twisted form of love.
That's what the Panda Man said.
Yeah, which I agree with the Panda Man, because like it just feels like Legoshi just decided that like he's in love with her, but like, he made that decision even before like he even really knew anything about her. But at the same time, it's not quite that simple, because he has a genuine invested interest in learning about her. Like he even said like, "Oh, I just want to talk to you. I just want to."
You guys know that there was
get to know you better.
That there was a Beastar manga.
Yes, that's
the show is based on the manga.
Yeah, here it is. Huh.
That is not. That's not it.
For those listening, I just sent them the meme where the bunny from Zootopia slaps the fox from Zootopia.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot to be said about like the nature of Haru and Lugosi's relationship, like whether it's actually love or not, or if there's more to it. It's kind of it's not. The show is not straightforward about it, which I appreciate. It lets you kind of like come to your own conclusions.
Yes.
But there's still enough substance there to like think about and discuss.
Is this reflecting on human society or is this reflecting on animal society?
Like,
is the
a little
story...
bit of column A, a little bit of column
it's
B.
obviously all part of an allegory.
Yes.
Okay. How does that work?
Well, you have people in society who are strong and people who are weak, and you have people who have...
Yeah, but
wealth.
you don't have people who are like bunnies and who are foxes.
Yeah, but you have people who are perceived to be strong and people who are perceived to be weak. And then also, actually it's interesting because in society, like women are considered the weak ones and males are considered the strong ones. But in this,
Yes.
It's all species. So the female
Yes.
wolf character can overpower the male deer character in the show.
Yeah, that scene was very interesting. She basically has like him pinned down to the ground, and she's like, "I don't really have any interest in you. This is just me showing you like you ain't shit."
Yeah. And there's like
That poor
this
deer.
constant tension between the herbivores and the carnivores,
Herbivore. Yeah.
which there's even there's some murder happening, and it's usually herbivores, and they kind of live in fear. But it's forbidden for carnivores to eat meat. But there's a black market where there's actual meat on the market.
Yeah.
Wherever that's
And
coming
there
from.
was even like an old man who was like, "Oh, I'll let you like eat my
Yeah.
finger for like 10,000 yen or whatever."
That's not even a lot. 10,000 yen, that's like $100 or something.
Well, he's a homeless
Yeah,
guy.
well, he's an old homeless man. He needs the money.
Also, a
one
finger.
part I found
You're not going to eat
really
a finger.
weird.
There's no meat in a finger. This is all manner of wrong.
But it's forbidden. That's what makes it important. And
You know
there's-
what? If he
there's
was-
this one
if-
tiger who
Yeah.
instead of like he takes drugs, and the drug is actually bunny blood.
Rabbit's blood. Yeah, rabbit's blood.
You know what they should do? They should have an economy for lizards to donate their body parts because they just grow them back. And then the carnivores could eat meat again. I fixed the show for you guys.
There aren't that many lizards around.
Oh, maybe they
Yeah,
tried
I
that
haven't
and they
s-
went
haven't seen
extinct.
any.
Oh yeah.
Maybe that's some secret lore that we'll find out later.
So much lore on this.
Maybe he
fucking
just
show.
omitted lizards from the world.
There is a lot, but like as we discussed before, chickens have already created like their own little system where like they'll not donate, but they'll sell their eggs, to shops so that carnivores can get their protein that way.
Yeah.
And I do remember, I don't know if it's in the manga, but I do remember there was like in the first episode there were like plates outside a building, and one of the plates was like a seafood dish. So
Well, fish
I
are
don't know,
in.
maybe
Fish are
maybe
in.
that's one way they can get.
There's actual. I remember there being bugs in the show, like actual animal bugs.
I recall I once said on this podcast that fish are kind of like vegetables. Maybe that's true in the show too.
There's actually
That's
there's a
weird.
mention of the underwater community. It's not shown though, obviously. That's another part of the lore. So
Man, this show is so interesting, and it's like
I'm
there's
really
so much.
considering continuing the manga.
I thought about it too. Like I don't really read manga much, but this is pretty good.
Yeah, you guys.
But yeah, I'm glad I recommended it to you, and you ended up enjoying it.
Yeah, I've seen it a lot on my Twitter feed, even outside of your recommendation. So I was curious.
Cool. What's this about? Code Geass?
No, fuck that.
Scanned.
Are we done with Beastars?
I'm
It's a
done
good
with
show.
Beastars.
Everyone should watch it. It's only 11
yeah, it's a good
12
show.
episodes. It's on Netflix.
I mean, I'm done. I might make a video about it. I'm not totally sure. I'm still thinking about it.
Okay, then.
Still
Well,
thinking
then
about it.
let's go from something very good to a massive piece of shit, which would be the show called Picard.
It's not
You watched
called
season
Picard,
one?
It's called Picard.
No, I'm not gonna say
That's
that
the
way.
name. That's his name in universe.
I don't give a fucking shit. He's a
This is
Frenchman.
gonna
I'm
make-
gonna pronounce his name the French way.
Maybe in this universe, the
And I-
naming convention changed.
And I finished season 1 of the show, and it gave me cancer. And I'm so mad, and I'm gonna watch season 2. There's no ending to my struggle. The new Star Trek is god awful. It is so fucking bad. And just the other day, I read that Star Trek Discovery was was just greenlit for season 5. They haven't even aired season 3 yet. So my plight is basically endless. This shit is gonna haunt me
Yeah.
for the rest of my life.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it.
No, there's nothing I can do about it. It's just it's
Really,
part
I
of,
really
part
wish.
Of me
I
now.
really wish the world wasn't so cruel to you.
Yeah.
But you know,
It is upsetting, and I'm even not that I'm not that much of a Star Trek nerd. I really think Star Trek is like one of the best franchises, but I got into Star Trek at around like 2010 or something. I haven't watched it. I hadn't watched it before, and I still haven't seen the original show. I still haven't seen Enterprise. I still haven't seen any of the movies. But what I love about Star Trek is just the idea of it and the intellectualism and the dialogue and the calmness. And, you know, it's always such a slow burn. And this shit is... It's just a generic sci-fi action show now. And it looks good, but it keeps referencing shit from Star Trek while not honoring the ideas of Star Trek at all. And basically it could be anything. The only reason why it's sci-fi is so that they can come up with some weird technological gadget that they need in the moment to advance the plot.
you know, there was a video game I always wanted to try, which was it was like a 12-player game where everybody was playing a role on like the starship. Like, you had a captain, and everybody had their own screen. Like you had an engineer, you had a weapons guy, and then the captain could demand to see a screen, and he could look at them, and it was just this sort of micromanaging of a giant spaceship.
That sounds pretty good.
It does sound
Was it
pretty
like
good,
a VR game? I remember that.
No, this is like I think I heard about this in like 2010 or something.
Isn't it called Bridge Commander or something?
It may be.
Yeah.
There are probably more than one of this sort of game.
But yeah,
Anyway,
it's I am so fucking just tired of every season of Star Trek, every movie of Star Trek now needs to end with something threatening to destroy all life in the galaxy. We can't go we can't go below that anymore. They always have to come up with some new doomsday scenario. And it's so fucking tired. Like, you watch one of the good episodes of TNG, and it's this private moral quandary of someone who comes into contact with a new civilization, and they're doing something that is, morally wrong in how humans think, and then they have this, debate about it, and then they come to some kind of understanding, and that's the climax of that episode. And in fucking new Star Trek, it's just, I don't know, there's a planet with synthetic people, and the synthetic people have been banned from Earth, And now they have a way to contact some ancient civilization of other synthetic people, and we need to stop them from opening the portal, or all the galaxy is gonna die.
Why were they banned from Earth?
Because there was some kind of operation going where the Romulans, which is this big empire next to the
Vulcans.
not next to Starfleet. What the fuck is the organization called?
Federation?
The Federation of Planets. And the Romulans is basically an empire that is adjacent to Federation space. And somehow the Romulans were threatened by a supernova that threatened to destroy all their planets, even though a supernova couldn't just destroy entire galaxies, I think. But, there was some shenanigans going on where Earth was trying to save them. And then synth people, like androids, attacked one of the shipyards of Starfleet. And then somehow Earth decided, wait, fuck androids, and we're not going to help the Romulans either. That's how synths got banned. That's the part.
Sounds really dumb.
This is really, really dumb. It makes no sense. And so there's one android left, basically.
Is that Data?
No, it's Data's daughter.
Ugh.
And then at the end they find
hate
this android planet where just a bunch of androids are. And because of some fucking premonition destiny bullshit, we have now a tool to summon this ancient civilization that is going to protect all androids. And then, the last episode is them trying to power up this portal. And then for a second, before it stopped, weird, like, mechanic tentacles are coming out of the portal, and then they're gone. Yeah. And that's how it's so dumb. It's so blatant. There's nothing. There's no substance there. There's no subtlety there. It's fucking terrible. The funniest thing I've seen so far about the show is Red Letter Media posted the screenshot of the last shot of Picard and his new crew. Right, there's a whole new cast of characters that he is commanding now on his new ship, and you can just see the whole crew. And they pointed an arrow to everyone and said, like, oh, this character, murderer. This character almost killed the entire galaxy. This character, drug addict and psychopath. This character, killer. This character, try to what was it, like, try to cover up a double homicide or something. They're all terrible people. There's one character who literally kills someone else. She wasn't manipulated or something. She did that of her own free will, and she just killed someone. And then everyone's like, okay, whatever, fine. There's one episode where she just feels bad about it, and then everyone forgets about it. And this isn't the new cast of fucking Star Trek characters, where Star Trek used to be about morals and ethics, and now it's like, well, everyone kills everybody.
They should do a Star Trek spin-off called Shatner, and it's just Shatner's character, Kirk, and his exploits in this dumb new universe.
He's gonna be an asshole like everybody else.
Yeah, but he's always been an asshole.
From what I heard, that's kind of an exaggeration that came from the movies. But
no, I mean William Shatner, not Kirk.
Oh, okay. Oh, wait, so it's not Shatner playing Kirk, it's Shatner playing himself in the Star Trek universe?
Yes. Did you read he wrote a book about Kirk or something. He wrote a bunch of them. And it's always like him having the sexiest sex and the muscliest muscles you could imagine. And it's just like this jerk-off fantasy to himself.
Man, I
love William Shatner.
You know what hurts most about it is that there is no more good sci-fi in terms of like TV or movies. Like the real, somewhat the scientifically oriented sci-fi is basically dead. There's The Expanse.
Isn't Red Dwarf supposed to be good?
Is that still going?
No.
No, there was a
That
show from
probably
the
ended.
fucking 90s or something.
I'm sorry.
It's every sci-fi show now is like Marvel or Star Wars or something that was influenced by that. You have no more of that. Outside of The Expanse, you have no more like calm problem solving with, logic and science and that kind of stuff. And so now that even Star Trek, which kind of started this whole thing or was a huge part in popularizing it, is now that even that is fucking being corrupted into a generic, terrible sci-fi action show that it just hurts. That shit it bothers me so much.
The good news is that social distancing is going to make it impossible to produce those massive budgets that demand a mouth-breathing massive audience. And so they're going to have to start making shows and movies on a smaller budget. And since they don't have to recoup as high costs, they're not going to have to dumb them down as much.
I don't know. I don't believe that.
What do you believe in? You have to believe in something. It can't just be garbage after garbage every year, Bogan. It has to change.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
You have to break the
But
cycle.
imagine, like, the first new Star Trek movie was 2009. Star Trek has been garbage for 11 years now. And
Star
even
Trek
longer.
Beyond was pretty good.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, he was on a motorcycle playing the Beastie Boys.
Yay.
It was like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Sabotage!
God, remember at the end of Star Trek Beyond where there's like these weird glaive thingies flying through space and like they're attacking starships and it's just explosions and dumb shit happening?
Yeah, that was
Fuck
awesome.
I was
watching that in the theater and I was eating my popcorn and that was awesome.
And I clapped.
And I clapped. I clapped when I heard
I
the
was
Beastie
so-
Boys.
I was so mentally tapped out watching that movie. Like it just like came and went for me. Like I didn't. None of it like stayed with me.
that's what the show is hoping. The shows and the movies, they go by so fast, and every plot element that doesn't make any sense or that is convenient is just explained with some techno babble, which I'm sure happened in TNG too, but. It's so blatant and obvious in the new Star Trek shows where out of nowhere they have this technology. In the first episode of Picard season 1, basically assassins teleport into a room and kill the people in that room or try to. And then in the second episode, Picard and some other character go to that room and the other character just pulls out this device where she can like recreate what the fuck happened the day before with some kind of molecular neutrino reading shit that she explains in like one sentence. And it's basically a stand from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure where she can just replay.
That sounds pretty good.
No! Because it's supposed to be science. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is fucking batshit crazy and that's fine. But it's not like they try to give some kind of scientific reasoning why stands exist.
It's the manifestation of the soul or some shit.
Like literally in part 5, there's a stand called what's it like Moody Blues or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, that can replay the events that happened in an area for the characters to see. She literally pulls out a device that can do that. And then says, well, I'm reading like molecular structure that has been remaining in this room. Fuck off.
Maybe that's just the natural evolution of Star Trek, though. It's going away from that sort of slow show into something more, action-packed, like JoJo.
But JoJo is creative and funny. Nothing about Picard is creative and funny because they don't... people in Star Trek, they swear now, they say fuck and asshole and shit all the time. And it's really dark. There's a scene where someone gets his eye ripped out and he's being tortured and it's just all there in graphic detail. That's my Star Trek that I love things. But then at the end, they try to, like, they just made this whole season full of edge and angst and blood and gore and swearing. And then at the end, they try to go back to creating these emotional, inspiring Star Trek moments from old, because that's what people remember. It's so cynical and lazy and fuck.
Do you remember when, like a year before he signed on to do this show, Patrick Stewart said that he's retiring Jean-Luc Picard. Well, I don't want to do it anymore. And then he came on stage and said he's going to do it. He said that, well, the script was really good. Like, what the fuck does that idiot think? What was he thinking? Does he know quality at all?
Dude, no, I don't think he gives a fuck anymore. And you know what? He's terrible. He's really bad at playing Picard now. Like, he's basically this confused old fool who he's so old he can't run anymore. He's either sitting or standing in every single scene.
Yes.
I mean, he is an old man, so give him a break.
I mean, I get it. He's old, but I went back to watching a few TNG episodes after this, and it's fucking crazy how good he is in that show, like in TNG.
Well, yeah, that was like 30 years ago.
Yeah, that's why it's such a heinous crime to destroy this character. Whenever Picard is in a scene in TNG, he fucking demands the screen. He has such charisma. He's so well written that you always want to listen to what he has to say next, because he's always so fucking intelligent in his replies. And every time he's in a scene, the camera is just pointed towards him. You want to see his fucking reaction. And in this new show, like, no one fucking gives a shit. He says nothing of substance. He's a dumb idiot.
Well, I mean, in TNG, it was a combination of, like, I'm sure the material itself was good, but also Picard, that, like, he was at, like, the perfect age where, like, he's old enough where he has all this experience, but still, young enough to where, like, he can pull off.
Be in a fucking care center.
Sure, like he's not like so old that, like, he needs to, like, oh, let me lay down.
Yeah.
Like he can walk around and have, like, presence and be like, you're gonna fucking listen to me.
Absolutely.
The reason they could solve this by just putting him in a wheelchair, but they won't do that because then people will make Professor X jokes. It's me, Professor X.
Oh, fuck. I hate this so much. Anyway, that's
welcome
Trek.
To the rest of your life.
Welcome to the rest of my life. I'm not gonna stop. I'm definitely not gonna stop. Like, I'm legitimately enjoying all the videos making fun of the show too much to stop.
What if the show gets good? What if they get, like, a new team of writers who are like, look, we're gonna fix this. We're gonna actually, like, we're gonna do the character right. It's just gonna be Picard. He's older. The world around him has changed, but he still has that sort of moral backbone. And he's gonna the story is gonna be about him teaching the next generation that you can be moral and you can be intellectual. You don't need to be this dumb shoot space show. If the show gets good, would you drop it?
But they kind of try to do that.
No, but I'm saying if they accomplished it, would you drop the show then? Or
no, I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch it because I love the character if he's done right.
Yeah, okay.
And I love fucking Star Trek, and I love all the races, and I love the politics of Star Trek. I want Star Trek to be good. I want sci-fi to be interesting again. Like, I don't drop shows when they become good. It's just...
What? You said you were going to. No, you said you disliked that the show got better.
Yes, I disliked...
You didn't drop
I disliked Darwin's Game when it became better because it didn't become excellent. It just became decent. And I need a show to be either really bad or really good.
That's why you were able to watch Code Geass, because it swung from bad to excellent in like 2-minute spurts.
So yeah, I also watched Euphoria, which is a show that is actually really excellent.
What is that?
That is an HBO show about teenagers and all their struggles, and it's fucking gritty and real.
Teenagers don't have any real struggles.
Well, if they take drugs constantly, and well, it's. I guess the show isn't really achieving any narrative milestones. Like, it's drug abuse and it's family problems and it's unwanted pregnancy and all that kind of shit. But I love the show because I think the characters are pretty good. It's actually it's structured in an interesting way where you have a cast of characters that all go to the same school, and then every episode, it's 10 episodes, it begins with like a flashback where the main character kind of talks over one of the characters' lives and kind of explains, how they were brought up and what they were struggling with and all that. And what I love about the show is mostly that it's such a mood. Like, I've been drawn to shows lately, and a lot of them come from HBO that are very strong in terms of atmosphere and visuals, and it's like...
Yeah, like Chernobyl?
Like Chernobyl, which isn't an HBO show, is it?
Yeah, I think it is.
I don't think it is. Oh,
no,
wait, I think you're right, it is. So...
The Watchmen show is HBO.
So all of the fucking shows I liked lately have been from HBO. Fuck. It's been like Chernobyl and Sharp Objects and now Euphoria.
Did you start watching the Watchmen show?
No.
I'd be interested in your thoughts on that.
Oh. That has to wait.
Fine.
But it's like in Euphoria, the visuals are like just crazy. The camera movements and the lighting. There's so much blue and red, and it always feels like a dream. And then the soundtrack I've connected with in a way that I really didn't expect. It's a lot of weird electronic music with a lot of actual vocals, and they do. It's hard to describe because a lot of the show, like, I don't even need shit to happen. I just want to revel in the atmosphere and the excellent performances, which is everything that you could also say about Chernobyl, right? It's just these characters that give their A game in terms of the actors giving their A game to portray these characters, and then it's just this moody, nightmarish atmosphere that,
it's heavy.
You always feel like something awful is gonna happen, and something awful is eventually gonna happen, and you just can't look away.
Yeah,
I haven't seen Chernobyl, so
it's good.
It's excellent. It's so good.
I've heard mixed. I've heard some mixed things. Like, some people are like, it's really good, but
but what? It's really, really good. Like, it's one of my favorite shows.
It would have been better if the American army had come in last minute and saved the day, though.
Now, some people say it's good, but it's kind of dumb.
What?
Or it's good, but like, hey, I haven't seen it.
I can understand the argument that it's not that substantive, but even that is...
I think you'd like it, Daniel.
Yeah, just...
Maybe
not right now, because we're living in kind of dark...
Given the
kind of dark
situation,
times,
yeah.
and this show is really dark. It is heavy.
Yeah, but maybe that's why you would like it, because it kind of shows you that, things are bad, but they could be much, much worse. Context.
What I actually liked about Chernobyl, though, is I'm guessing you guys... Well, I know you guys didn't pick up on that, but... I mean, I grew up and was born in East Germany, and there's a certain architecture to East German cities, and the way the buildings look and the way they used to look, especially before 1989.
What is it? Just like faceless, soulless boxes? Or?
Yes, these soulless, like, I don't know. I'm missing the words for what we call them in German, but these soulless buildings that are just
Mass-produced,
ugly and
utilitarian,
blocky.
yeah.
Yes, very utilitarian. And they incorporate it in that show because they kind of use the camera and the music and the atmosphere itself to just show these buildings in these ugly, menacing ways where it basically just, it connected with me because I know these buildings and they're not pretty to look at, but I never looked at them like that. And it's so wild that they can fucking point a camera at a basic building in Eastern Europe and turn it into a horror movie,
Yeah.
That is fucking crazy, and I love that so much. But yeah, Chernobyl, great. Euphoria, great. Who's who's the lead in Euphoria, Acer? It's Zendaya.
Oh, from Spider-Man.
Yeah. She's amazing. She's such a good actress.
That's good.
Yeah. So I really recommend it.
It's good that you managed to appeal to me.
Yeah.
With
Well, I know,
superheroes.
And so
The woman who wrote the soundtrack for Chernobyl, I recall I think she's Icelandic. I think it's the same woman who wrote the soundtrack for the Joker movie. Everybody in Iceland was super mad when she gave her Oscar speech and she didn't thank Iceland. She was like, because it's the first time I think an Icelander has won. And she was like, thanks to my mom and dad and to my wonderful co-workers. Thank you. And it was like, Oi! What about us?
What about us? What the fuck did your family or anyone else in Iceland do?
Hey, it's about the sort of national spirit,
Yeah, fuck this. It's like saying we won the football game. You didn't do jack shit.
You
stayed at home and watched the fucking thing on your couch. Get over yourself.
If I ever win an award, I'm gonna be like, hey, thanks, this is for Iceland. You guys are the best. And I'll be beloved here.
You should thank us from the podcast. Because we were such an important part in your upbringing.
I will, if I ever win an award, I will distance myself from you, you two.
You piece of fuck.
Or I would force you to be like, it's BAFTA award-winning something Acer when you introduce me on the podcast.
Every single time.
No, that would be terrible. Anyway, what else did you do?
Yes, and finally, I've played Ori and the Will of the Wisps.
What does it say on the docs, though?
Cool.
Ora, and the Will of the Wisps.
That's a JoJo reference.
I understood the reference.
Is that a motherfucking JoJo reference? So how is it?
It's a incredibly good game. I think I'm willing to put my foot down and say that Ori is basically the best platformer. Like the best. Not Ori. Well, the game itself is really good, but Ori as the character is my favorite platforming character in anything.
Better than Spectre Knight.
Yes, because I even like Plague Knight more than Spectre Knight.
Right. That's.
But
right.
actually,
You're
Plague Knight would be
guy.
my number 2, and I'm struggling to come up with a 3.
Conquer.
Conquer? Like Conquer's Bad Fur Day?
Let's.
Hey, Conquer's Bad Fur Day. I mean, the humor hasn't aged that well, but it's still a pretty fun game.
Let's come up with a bunch of problematic characters for Bogan to rank. Duke Nukem.
That's not a platformer character, is it?
That's not well, the old 2D Duke Nukem.
Yeah,
I think that's a platformer.
Hey, well, that's not. But the thing there is that Duke Nukem not problematic enough.
I don't know what else are good platforming characters.
I mean,
Shovel Knight.
But was Conquer all that problematic? Like, it was just a bunch of like poop and fart jokes. It wasn't actually anything all that problematic. I don't remember it.
No, there's like oh my god, he gets a boner, or like he's attracted to a sexy lady.
Yeah,
but that's like
it was like sex jokes.
Yeah,
that's tame.
I meant what are some problematic characters we could throw to poke into rank? Lesser Suit Larry, is he problematic?
Probably.
Probably, but I don't think he has a platformer.
No. I feel like Lesser Suit Larry, those games, aren't they about how pathetic he is, though?
No, but he gets all the ladies, I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
I feel like know. I've never played those games.
He gets them, but then it's revealed that they're just going to peck him all night. And he's like, oh no, or something like that. Isn't that the point of those games?
Dude, I've never played those games.
I've played them very sparsely.
In the light of the Doom Eternal being such a great game that it's apparently is, I haven't played it, I would fucking love a good Duke Nukem game. Like, I am so bang up for Duke Nukem to return and be actually good.
I'm not.
Right?
No.
Why not?
Because he's an asshole.
Yeah, but you can make that character work.
No.
You just have him return, and he's the exact same character.
But anyway, what are the best?
You make him a bit more tired.
Yeah, let's make him Picard.
Like, you put some sadness around the eyes.
80-year-old man who's just doing the same lame jokes for 50 years, and everyone else is like, fucking hell, stop.
And everybody's like, oh my god, this fucking guy.
Yeah. He's like the racist old uncle now.
What?
No, but what are some really good...
It's me, Duke Nukem. Let's talk about immigration control.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've broken Acer. We've done it.
Actually did.
We fucking did it.
Oh my god, that would be amazing. You telling me you wouldn't want to play that?
That's unfortunately never gonna happen.
Oh no, that's true. No, I don't. I think you can bring him back and just dial down the misogyny.
Well, because I don't think then.
No, because you do like a cliche tough guy from like the 90s or the 80s action movies. Because he wasn't really a problematic character until Duke Nukem Forever, I think. I feel like it's just that game was so insensitive that it sort of retroactively painted him as like this disgusting character. Duke Nukem 3D pretty much holds up. Anyway. Did you like Duke Nukem, Bogan, since you played it? How was Ori? It's your favorite platform character.
What are some other good platforming characters? I really liked Rayman in Origins and what's the other one? Legends. But I feel like that's not really like those are just well-designed games and the character itself isn't that expressive.
Would you call there's platforming in them, but would you call Ratchet and Clank platforming characters?
I've never played Ratchet and Clank.
Oh. Jak and Daxter, I like those guys.
But I mean, I'm really specifically talking in terms of moveset and fluidity, just how it feels to control the character.
Then I'd say Jak and Daxter.
Okay. Yeah, no. Not.
It's really funny. I think I said this once, but Jak 2, it retains the platforming moveset from the first game, but it's not a platformer. It's like a GDA game. So you have like the craziest platforming control scheme for essentially driving around town all the time. It's ridiculous.
What about Sly Cooper? Is he fun to control?
Well, his platforming...
I think it depends.
His platforming is a lot of pressing circle, and he just automatically snaps to certain items or environmental decor which glows.
Yeah, Sly Cooper is fun, but not like... I wouldn't say you need to go out of your way and be like, oh my god, gotta play Sly Cooper. Like, they're fun, enjoyable, like... PS2 platformers.
No, but again, I'm talking who's the the best platforming character, irrespective of their game.
Okay, yeah, like if we're talking about like his purely based on his platforming mechanics, he's not especially interesting.
Okay,
No.
because that's also my
Banjo-
problem with Mario. Like, he's been obviously in a lot of games, and he has had a lot of abilities, but in no specific one game do I feel like he is my favorite platforming character.
I feel like they've been dumbing him down since Mario 64.
Well, yeah.
What about Sunshine? I haven't played Sunshine, but like, didn't the Flood add a lot to his moveset?
Oh yeah, actually.
Don't people hate that shit?
I know people hate Sunshine, but like, I don't think they hate Mario's acrobatic abilities. I think they hate the way that the game is designed.
I want to say Flood introduces the problem that the platforms need to be very far away.
I mean, I never played Sunshine, so I don't know. I haven't played it, so I really want to though, because it's like one of the only Mario game. Like, I think it's like the only 3D Mario game I haven't played.
What about Spyro Ripto's Revenge on the Game Boy Advance?
That's a weird one.
I played that as a kid. It's so it's a 2D game, top down. You have octagonal movement, and you can fly around, and you have your shadow to sort of guide you as to whether you're falling or not. And it is horrible, let me tell you.
Great. Thanks for bringing it up.
No problem. Hey, no problem, man.
What about Celeste?
There's no map.
Celeste is a good one.
Celeste is really damn good.
You guys
Although,
keep
like
bringing up these games.
like, I feel like most of the mechanics though are like environmental, but like,
yeah, exactly.
But like
it's not,
the game feel is so good though. Just like jumping and dashing just feels amazing in that game.
How about Crash Bandicoot?
no,
Is he kind of nah? He's
he
too
feels
simple.
Bad.
But see, I think what Boken specifically is looking for is mechanics that are inherent to the character that make them fun to use, as opposed to the games around them that introduce interesting environmental mechanics.
Well, that's part of Ori too, obviously. But what I mean is that I pick up Ori in both of his games now, and he is responsive. He is crisp. You immediately fall into this trance where you have this control and you go where you want to go. And then on top of that, he has a bunch of really cool abilities. Like he has, in the first game, he got the ability, it's called Bash, but it's basically you hold down a button, and when there's a projectile near you, you can kind of shoot the projectile in one way and shoot yourself into the other way, which you can use to shoot projectiles back at an opponent, or use it to gain another jump midair, and then which in itself is really intuitive and innovative.
Have you played Guacamelee?
Oh yeah, that's actually pretty good too.
Yeah,
Hey,
that has
Boken.
surprisingly good platform mechanics. I don't know if it has the same sense of flow that Ori does, because a lot of it is kind of like stop and go, but it's still really challenging.
Well, if you check out the combat, yeah, I think it actually. I only played the second one, but that had a bunch of really good platforming.
I've only played the first one. I played a chunk of the second one, but mostly the first one.
Bogan, have you played Limbo?
The game sucks.
How about a Super Meat Boy? How about
he doesn't have an interesting moveset, you know.
He really doesn't. He just kind of runs, jumps, wall jumps.
Well, yeah, that's the game. More.
Yeah, I was never really a fan of how Meat Boy feels a little bit slippery to me. Like in Celeste, you feel those controls feel so tight, and Meat Boy feels slippier by comparison.
Okay. How about a? I don't know. Did you like Ori? Was it a good game?
Yes, it's incredible.
Why didn't you 100% it then?
Because the map is fucked.
The map is a fuck.
I went through multiple areas where it said, oh, you have 90% unlocked. And I see a bunch of icons on the map that I missed. And so I go there, I go to all the areas that I can see because I got the map of the area that are gray. I go there, I pick up everything there, and then it tells me, whoa, you're still missing 2%, asshole. And I don't know what to do. Like,
Use a guide.
But what am I supposed to look at the guide? Like, what am I going to Google? Hey, I'm missing 2% in the Silent Willow.
Just
Please help me?
Just look up a complete guide of Silent Willow, watch the video, and then be like, "Oh, I don't recognize that."
Yeah, fuck that. I'm not gonna.
Watch a 100% speed run, and then you can get your speed run, and you can also see what you missed.
So what you want me to do is watch like a 2-hour video where he picks up everything in the game just so I can find the 2% in an area that I'm missing.
Yes.
And that I'm going to do that for all the 10, 12 areas in the game.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No. No.
Outrageous.
Fucking no. The only reason why I thought to myself,
you're
hey...
not a real Ori fan.
The only reason why I thought to myself, hey, I can 100% this is because after my playthrough, I already had like 80, and Ori is really fun to control. But fuck that shit.
You know what? I would say Jak and Daxter. That's a really fun movement set, especially when you get like the hoverboard and stuff.
Yeah, pretty good.
But anyway, Ori is really good.
Yes.
Fantastic soundtrack. It looks amazing. There's just...
Is it pixel art?
I'm marveling at... No, it's not.
Is it flash animation? Circa 2006 Newgrounds.
No. It just looks really... I actually made a tweet where I said, oh, look at how fucking amazing Ori looks, and why does this look and feel and sound better than all the stupid AAA games coming out? Because this feels like a small game. And then I beat it, and the credits just kept rolling. There were so many fucking people who worked on this, and I was shocked. I was so shocked. I thought Moon Studios is like a 5-man team or something. And it's just, Jesus fucking Christ. They even got a whole orchestra to do the soundtrack. I guess that's what happens when you have Microsoft resources backing you up.
Hey, is it an Xbox exclusive?
No, it's on PC.
How did you play it then?
It's on PC.
Yeah. You did.
Yeah. So, yeah, I can recommend that. I also recommend the first game. They're just really, really damn good platformers, and they're beautiful.
What's up with Street Fighter these days? Every tournament has been cancelled?
All the tournaments have been cancelled. People are trying to keep the thing alive with online tournaments. It's not exactly the same, but whatever.
Daniel
we
would
do what we
probably
have
like
to do.
those. He could play them in his car.
Oh my god.
Oh my God,
I don't understand. What is such a big deal about that? Who cares?
It's weird.
It's so weird.
It's not.
If we worked together, Daniel, first of all, I'd never reveal that I'm Acer Aesthetics. I would just know you in both lives. And second of all, when I would see you walking out into your car, I would follow you and I would demand that you return.
What do you mean demand that I return? Return where?
You're being to the cafeteria. You're being a social pariah. I would not stand by it.
No, my lunches are also very small. Like, I don't eat a lot during lunch.
Yeah, so
I would literally be there for like
anything.
I would literally be there for like 1 minute, eat my lunch, and then like my lunch is done, I'm gone.
yeah, then you're supposed to watch everyone else eat like a normal person.
And I'm okay. Watching other people eat, I'm the weird one.
Yes,
Maybe
it's a bonding exercise.
Yes, maybe you could talk to them.
I talk to them already.
Ask them how their
throughout
day
the whole
was.
day. I do that already throughout the whole
Maybe
day.
you could tell them about your stupid video games instead of playing them for half an hour.
They don't. You clearly do not know the people I work with.
He works with super chats. They don't want to talk about video games.
So that's why he needs to hide in his car. Oh no, I'm gonna get bullied.
No, I don't care about that. Like, they don't care either.
Just wait until they see my completed Pokemon collection. Then we'll see who's a nerd then.
That would be Boken, not me.
That is true. You do collect Pokemon.
I don't collect Pokemon at all. What the fuck are you talking about?
I thought you were a big Pokemon fan.
Yes, but I couldn't give less of a fuck about completing the Pokedex.
Oh,
That's
you're
a
meta
waste
Pokemon
of time.
player.
I'm gonna get the Pokemon I like and the Pokemon I need.
Who's the best Pokemon, do you guys think?
Who's the best Pokemon? What the
The best?
That's
In terms of what?
in terms of being the best Pokemon. Who's your favorite?
There's a difference between your favorite and the best.
Yeah.
Who's your
All
favorite
my favorite
Pokemon?
Pokemon are awful in terms of competitive viability.
Who's your favorite Pokemon?
My favorite Pokemon is Saucebug.
Who?
Saucebug. It's like a Gen 5 deer. It's really cool.
Okay, what?
It actually, in Gen 5, they introduced a mechanic that is seasons. So every 2 months, the season changes in the game. And like every 2 actual months in the world, it changes in the game. And Saucebug is one of the animals, or Pokemon, that changes its appearance when the season changes. So it's like a deer, and in winter it has no green on its horns and it has a white coat. And then when spring comes, there's like little flowers on its antlers. And then those bloom into a full green tree in summer. It's really cool. It's a very good design.
Who's your favorite, Daniel?
Charizard. No,
Oh,
Blastoise.
what a fucking basic ass
Blastoise.
answer, man.
Is he the turtle guy?
Blastoise is the one with the turtle cannons.
Oh, he's Squirtle.
Squirtle, then yes. Wartortle.
Yeah.
Wartortle sucks. And then Blastoise, which is awesome.
That's cool. My favorite Pokemon, he's my favorite because he reminds me so much of myself, is Mewtwo.
Mewtwo, yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
freak
He-
lab accident.
No, because he's perfect. He doesn't need to evolve.
I
Does
see.
he? Does he evolve? Can you level him up in those games?
He doesn't evolve.
No.
Pretty sure.
Ah.
But obviously you can level him up.
He doesn't need to evolve. He's a lot like me in that regard. But then I saw somewhere that there's a rock version of him. And I thought,
What?
that's ridiculous.
I don't know.
Maybe that was
I
just
fucking
somebody's
hate
fan
legendary
art.
Pokemon. They're boring as fuck, and they're always over-designed. And when they come out in
Mewtwo-
terms of competitive play, they're always way too strong, so everyone plays them.
Mewtwo is just like a purple kangaroo, though.
Yeah, I'm saying generally legendary
Oh,
Pokemon.
yeah. Isn't there a god in one of those games, a Pokemon?
Probably. I don't know.
Can you collect God and train him to fight his creations? That's dumb.
I think in Gen 4.
God, I know
yeah.
you're the creator of the cosmos, but
No,
got
wait,
the
you're
Master
right.
Ball,
Yeah,
what can I say?
don't remember which Pokemon it was, but yeah.
isn't he like a deer?
Fuck, I don't
don't
know. Legendary
That's been
Pokemon are
Pokemon.
fucking stupid.
Who's your favorite Yu-Gi-Oh monster?
Ooh.
I feel like this
Mine
podcast
is-
has really gone off the rails.
Well, we don't have a structure to this, so it's just
I kind of.
float.
What was the dragon that Joey Wheeler was able to spawn?
Red Eyes.
Red Eyes, yeah.
Red Eyes
Red
Black
Eyes
Dragon.
Black Dragon.
Kind of liked him. Them.
It's him.
It's not as good
He's a
as the
dude.
Blue Eyes White Dragon.
That's a her.
Wait, is it?
Yeah.
Blue Eyes
It's Kisara.
Blue Eyes White Dragon is
girlfriend.
female.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
It's the spirit, it's the soul of Kaipa's girlfriend from ancient Egypt. Don't you know the lore, Daniel?
What?
Oh my god.
What?
Yeah. Don't you know the lore?
That feels like a narrative move. They came up like 5 seasons in, where they're scrambling.
You
to
will,
do
you know
anything.
what? You know what? It's actually in season 5.
That's good. That's real good.
That is pretty,
pretty
good.
good.
The best monster is obviously Alistair the Invoker. He gives you access to so much of the fusion toolbox.
You guys don't know what you're talking
Sure.
about, picking these normie-ass dragons.
Coincidentally, Invoker is also the best Dota 2 hero.
See? It's all coming
It's all
together.
connected.
Daniel, what's your favorite Beyblade? No. The red one. That's the best Beyblade.
So yeah,
guess.
I'm done. I'm all topicked out. Please end
Me
this,
too.
Daniel.
Okay. What is everybody working on?
Kingsfield video.
Oh, Kingsfield video. Okay.
Also, I need to put out that conversation I had with Loki about the Demon Souls translation.
With who?
There was some stuff with Loki, Vadi's
Oh,
translator.
okay.
There was some stuff I got. See, I don't know. I didn't get anything wrong. The game got it wrong.
It's not your fault.
I was working off a bad translation, guys.
So
You can't come after me.
yeah, it's not your fault. I mean, if Dark Souls' translation had problems, I imagine Demon Souls' translation was arguably worse.
Yeah, about the same, about as bad. Actually, Demon Souls' translation was a bit better. Because the sort of main themes of that game were all very much contained.
Okay. Interesting.
Anyway, what are you working on, Daniel?
So I have a 4-part series that I'm working on, and by the time this episode goes up, I believe part 1 should be out. So I feel pretty comfortable saying that it is the first part of the Tales of Zestiria critique. Part 1 is going to be focusing on the world design and the level design.
Can I change your mind into not making it a 4-parter and just releasing it as a whole video?
Just
It's too
release it
late.
as one 30-minute video.
Oh,
Because you
this
also hate
first
long
this
videos,
first
Logan.
part is like over 20 minutes already.
That's not long.
Isn't
Joseph
it,
Anderson's
is
Witcher
it
video is going to be 4 hours.
isn't it better though to like have?
No, it's not.
All right, whatever.
Whatever you're going to say, it's better to release one video. You're always losing viewers with subsequent
That's not
parts.
true.
It's true.
Well,
no,
it's better
well,
for
maybe
me
parts, but-
because I don't want to get burnt out talking about the same thing. You know, like that's what happened to me with the school days video. Like by the end of it, I was just like so done. I was so burnt out. This gives me the opportunity to like, okay, here's something, and I can work on something else, get my mind off of it. Then I'll come back and be like, all right, here's part 2. You know?
But even with parts, I feel like you get all the views for the first one, and then subsequently you just get fewer and fewer. But it's still more overall.
Yes, I think that's true.
Why
well,
would
actually,
you say that?
actually,
Well, what is your proof of
subsequent
that?
subsequent parts could be their own videos.
Like, ideally, you have the same amount of views in all the videos, which you just don't have. You're always losing people. Don't think you can say that the ideal, amount you got on the first video is more than what you would have gotten if you had released it as a whole.
I mean, this isn't necessarily true though,
collectively-
because like some videos might garner more attention than others. Like, I'm planning on having one video that's just all about the writing, and I feel like that topic is going to interest some people more than others, and as a result, that
true.
video might be the best viewed one. Or
I am willing to take a bet that your first video is going to have the most views and your last video is going to have the least.
you might be right, but you know what? This process is easier on me.
Let's
and at the end of the
let's
day,
make that bet. What does Boken have to do if he's wrong?
nothing. I don't care.
No, let's take the bet. What terrible show do you want him to watch?
What? That's not part of this bet.
No,
I
that
think
doesn't
that's a
work
good
because
bet.
he's just going to enjoy it.
That's
No.
also not true at all. But okay.
If I send him,
I don't enjoy every fucking garbage. Do you understand?
like
that,
if
right?
I say like, oh,
I do have
Boken,
certain interests.
if I say Boken, you have to watch Guilty Crown or some trash like that. He'll be like, nom nom. Thank you very much for the meal.
Guilty Crown is really good though. Yeah.
From what I hear, no, it ain't. But see, the thing is, that's probably the precise type of bad that Boken would love. Like, it's just like this amazing train wreck that he'll just be like, oh yes, give me more.
How about Boken has to walk down to the Berlin train station wearing nothing but his underpants?
I don't dislike Boken so much that I would subject him to something like that.
Oh. What's a good bet? We're gonna do this.
There's no need for a bet. It's fine.
Fine.
It's, you know,
but it's such a nebulous bet too, because like,
yeah, like,
because views change all the time. Like, you'll have a video that has like 10 views, and then tomorrow there's like 10,000 views. Like,
and also maybe the algorithm picks up one of them, and it happens to be the third one or whatever.
Yeah, I was gonna say too, because like the third one, like, actually,
can I ask you a question
what?
though? Are they gonna be structured as 1, 2, 3? Like, are you gonna have to? Do you need to watch the first one to get the third one?
Not necessarily. Each part is going to be breaking down individual elements of the game. So part 1 is going to be about the level, and
are you gonna name it part 1, part 2?
Yeah, it is. It's still going to be parts 1, 2, 3, and 4. You know, because that's the general flow. But at the same time, like, if you only care to hear my opinion on the combat, you could watch that part where I talk about the combat exclusively, and you'd be fine.
View-wise, I think you should. The best idea would be to not number them, and just do like, this is one part of my 4-part discussion, rather than this.
I think that would be more confusing.
I don't think your audience, Daniel, sits at home and thinks, well, I'm going to listen to what Daniel has to say about the combat of Tales of Zestiria, but I sure don't give a fuck what he thinks about the story. That's not how people work.
My audience, I agree, but random people coming across it, they might be like, well, I don't give a fuck what this guy has to say about the, level design.
Very unlikely. Unlikely.
They may just do like Tales of Zestiria lore breakdown or something like that.
Regardless, I don't care. I don't care about. I don't care about the views. I don't care about any of that shit. I'm making this the way that I want to make it.
That's the good part of not needing the money from YouTube.
Yeah, I got a job. Like, look, if YouTube was my job, maybe this would be the wrong way to go about it, and blah blah blah, whatever. Fine, but I'm not. I don't care. I'm doing it the way I want to. Fuck all y'all. I don't care.
I'll tell you something about YouTube money after we record. It's really funny. Anyways, is that all? Boken, are you working on something?
I'm working on making mad cash in Path of Exile. And I'm also, like, I've not been playing Street Fighter as much because of the tournaments, so, I've been getting back into more games lately, and I'm trying to get through all the shit that's been coming out and will be coming out. There's so much coming out, fucking hell. There's Ori and Doom and Nioh 2 and Final Fantasy and
Resident Evil,
although I hear that kind of sucks, but I'm gonna need time for that. And maybe at some point I'll get back into videos. I don't know.
All right, Daniel, you want to do the sign off?
I guess
with your catchphrase.
What catchphrase?
Just like a really tired, beaten down guy dreading the next recording session.
Goodbye, everyone.
Yeah.
This has been the Essays and Espresso podcast. I have been your weary host, Daniel.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.